Good night, everybody. Welcome to Three Count Watch Along. This is gonna be our first watch along, and it's going to be Royal Rumble 2000 as chosen by the people, meaning you and all of your cohorts who dared to vote on this whole unholy evening. But thanks everybody for participating. We'll be getting started with the Royal Rumble show at about five after maybe. I took a look. The show itself is 2 hours and 41 minutes, so that'd be about midnight where this show will be over. So hopefully you guys can either listen along or watch along at a later date. I'm going to be watching the entire show. So that means from the beginning to the end. To avoid copyright, I will not be playing any music. I also will not be having any still pictures or anything like that. But I will be able to, if there's a promo, I probably will turn my audio on for that. But that will be about it. Otherwise, I'm going to be watching the show almost completely silent. You guys can do whatever it is you do at home. It's going to be fun. Like I did watch-alongs for matches before. Usually Survivor Series, maybe Royal Rumble matches. I did. Did I ever do a watch-along for a Royal Rumble match? I'm not sure. But in any event, this will be the first full-length watch-along for the channel. And I wish I could remember who gave me this idea so I can give them credit. I never remember who gives me ideas. I'm a really good artist. I'm great at stealing other people's ideas and not giving them credit. But yeah, I was looking forward to it being something else other than Attitude Era. But hey, here it is. Attitude Era is going to win 90% of the time. I can tell you it's going to win 90% of the time. But I haven't seen this event, Royal Rumble 2000, in years. Some of these matches I probably haven't seen in over 5 years. I know definitely the two major events that happened here, the Royal Rumble 2000 and the Cactus Jack versus Triple H match. I've seen those matches fairly recently, and by recently I mean probably 3 or 4 years ago. I haven't watched anything on this show in a long time. So feel free to jump in. Also, feel free to talk about some current events if you guys want to talk about current events. There's bound to be a lull in this thing at some point, right? But I didn't take any notes, so like I knew I was doing a watch along, so I didn't want to make it too much on my brain. I already got to look at the screen and make commentary about what I'm looking at. I don't want to have like a sheet of paper here too to talk about current events. So if you guys want to talk about current events or something like that, something pops up on Twitter or Facebook, or you see something on No DQ or Body Slam or something, feel free to jump in and let's talk about it. WG Phil says, I noticed only the 2000, 2001 Attitude Era pay-per-views, not the peak 97 through 99 outside of Survivor Series, 97 and 90 and SummerSlam 98. Well, yes. I like 97 and I like most of 98. I actually 2000 is the number one year for the WWF. I think maybe all time. I don't think they've ever done business bigger than they've done it in 2000. That being said, it's a lot of people's favorite year. So for me, it's the year that I actually kind of lost interest in wrestling. Maybe I'll tell that story during the show. But I can tell you this: I didn't see Royal Rumble 2001 until I got it on DVD. So I can tell you that much. I think WrestleMania 2000 is what did it, dog. I hated that event so much. I hate Royal Rumble WrestleMania 2000. I hate it. But it's also where I came of age. I was 16 when this event happened. So I was literally interested in doing other things. So are guys who are going to be watching along? You should be on the network by now. Royal Rumble 2000. It's 9:05. It's 5 after. So as promised, we're going to start the show in a couple of seconds. I'm going to give a countdown to everybody who's going to be watching along with me. Everybody else, just feel free to kick back. I got some kettle corn here. If you're from Detroit, you know a little bit about mixed Mystic kettle corn. Not really a big popcorn guy, but don't worry. I just had dinner, so I'm not going to be eating in your ear. I literally just ate dinner. It's still digesting. Hopefully, I don't have to go to the bathroom or anything like that. And hopefully, if I do, it'll be later enough in the show where I can hold it. Jaden Young only liked Attitude Era from 1997 to 1998. After that, they completely jumped the shark. Oh boy. Well, in that case, it's time to jump the shark. We're going to give us a countdown to me pressing play on Royal Rumble 2000. So we're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right. It's booting up right now. I know I could have had a lot more fun. Well, I just now realized that this thing is rated TV MA. What about this is MA? That's what I want to know. I guess it's the blood, right? It would be the blood and the violence. I'm really enjoying the pre-match package where they're showing all like Mick Foley's death match stuff, because it's kind of priming you into what kind of match this will be, this street fight between Foley and Triple H. They're really setting that up nicely. So this is very well done. Even though all of this footage is really grainy and a lot of it's from ECW, which means they probably had to give Paul some money for this. You think Paul got a paycheck out of this whole thing? Because some of this footage is ECW footage. Some of it is from Japan, or a lot of it is from Japan, but some of it is from ECW footage. Top Dog said the only good thing about this pay-per-view was Triple H versus Jack in the main event. Well, we'll see. We'll see. 1-800-CALL-COLLECT. You have no idea how I went through that as a kid. I never called it ever, but I saw that commercial so much. Some of y'all are too young to understand how important calling people long distance was before cell phones. A lot of signs, maybe too many signs. This was the heyday of wrestling fans with these signs, man. The Attitude Era was really good for that. The signs, like you don't see signs before the Attitude Era, really, and you don't see signs really after. You see them for a little while afterwards, but not nearly as much as you see it during the Attitude Era. Like the Hogan years, you will see a sign here and there, but they're not as prevalent as they would be a few years later. Lorenzo Granger thinks WWF 2000 is great stuff. Alto Johnson says, I barely remember what the New Generation 94 to 96 and the majority of Attitude Era is a drag. I think the New Generation actually started in 93. I think it became official in 94, but I think it started in 93. Here come your Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. And it's young Kurt Angle. He's all bronzed. You know, his phony gold medals. I don't think he ever brought his real gold medals out, which was smart on his behalf because, you know, why bring your real ones out so he could steal them? Look at young Kurt. This is before he transformed himself into a Ninja Turtle. You know, his traps and everything got way too big for his body. Lorenzo Granger said, what's your take on Batman 89? It's the best Batman. Kurt Angle promo.
Again, in a building this famous, it deserves to have a true champion performing in it. And we all know we wait for Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks to bring home a title. We probably be waiting forever.
They're in Madison Square Garden. I forgot about that. It's always that weird setup with MSG where the hard camera is staring right at the goddamn entrance.
to be your champion.
Kurt Angle has some very unique moves, does he not?
Yeah. Now, concerning this so-called unnamed opponent.
To be announced.
Hold up a second, please.
He's wearing elbow pads,
Now, I
yo.
know you have to be pretty nervous coming out here and facing an undefeated American hero.
Undefeated American hero.
Angle's undefeated.
So what I want you to do is take a nice deep breath, let it out, and remember, this is something that you could probably tell your grandkids about someday. It is.
I hope Taz is telling people that he had his first WWF match against Kurt Angle.
Just remember your three eyes. Come on out here and give it your all.
Oh, I love Kurt Angle, man. He's so condescending. He's such an asshole, bro. Why did Bruno have beef with Stone Cold? I think Bruno just didn't like the product. You know, he wasn't a big fan of the Attitude Era product. I don't think it was Stone Cold specifically. I think it was just he didn't like the product. And a lot of older guys didn't like the product. I mean, there was a lot of it to not like. Something tells me Vince McMahon had never seen Taz before he booked Taz in this match. Because Taz comes out and Taz he's a small man, but he's jacked. But Kurt Angle's not big, but he's so much taller than Taz. And something tells me Vince did not see Taz before he booked this match. This might have been a Vince Russo thing. There's no wrestling hold so far. Taz is just punching Kurt Angle in the head and back body dropping over the top rope. Now he's about to suplex him on the ring apron. Well, not in the ring apron, in the rampway. And Angle reverses it, suplexes him. I like the stage. Like, this is one thing that I do agree with a lot of people. The WWF used to do stages very well. Like you look at the streets that lead from the entrance to the ring. It's dope. They're slugging it out a little too much for me. That weak ass flying elbow smash that Kurt Angle just did. Lorenzo Granger. I have since a nostalgia memories WWF Royal Rumble in the year 2000. This was my gateway into pro wrestling. Wow. WWF knew how interesting storyline, compelling characters, and insane stuff. I was 10 years old. Well, you know what? I was 10 years old in 1994. So I have a real good fond memories about the New Generation era. And it's without a doubt the worst. Outside of some of the modern stuff, the New Generation era is really bad. But it's my favorite stuff to revisit because I was a kid watching that. I can't believe they just did a hidden arm Tazplex off the top rope, and then they very smartly went to the put the foot on the ropes instead of having Kurt Angle kick out of it. See, that's good instincts. That's good intelligence. Nowadays they had to kick out of it. Kurt Angle going for a small package. Ugh, what the nerve of this thing. Alto Johnson. Oh my God, this is Taz's debut right back when Taz was supposed to be a big deal, but he wasn't. He said the trend for a big fish in a small pond. Well, I won't say he set the trend, but he was certainly a big fish in a small pond. And then they debuted him in New York, which is, you know, the number 2 market for ECW. So he got an unusually big reaction. And then they put him over, for Christ's sake. Up there botching the suplex here. Angle wasn't really going with it. Another interesting little piece of business here is, of course, Kurt Angle he visited ECW while Taz was there. So these two, I wonder, did they know each other? Had they ever met prior to this? But Angle getting suplexed all over the place, that was tremendous. Right into the Taz mission. This match is not long at all. Did a really good job of putting over Taz. Unbelievable the amount of Taz, they put him over here. WG Phil, do you like or dislike Chad Gable? And if you do think they are trying to make him into Kurt Angle, should he go his own or should he go his own path? My answer is always go to your own path. That's always the right way to go. I like that Taz won this match. He didn't even break a sweat. It made it seem like, again, Taz is a monster. Taz is a real badass. He didn't even like super celebrate. He just kind of put his arms up and walked off. But you can tell who Vince cared about because Taz is gone and Kurt Angle's still in the ring. And they're about to do this whole stretcher thing with Kurt Angle, right? So you know that Vince really cared about Kurt Angle. But he had to get that first loss out of the way. It hadn't been that long though. I think he debuted at Survivor Series 99. So it was only a couple of months, but getting that first loss out of the way, very important. Taz was the right guy for this audience. I don't think they would have took too well to Taz losing. But back to WG Phil's question, you should always go your own path in every way possible. I think they're trying to make him a dork like Kurt Angle, but Triple H doesn't know how to book Kurt Angle. What the fuck he knows about booking Kurt Angle? Ali Hankerson says, I remember when Kurt Angle held Austin captive and made him cry. One of the funniest segments. Oh, excuse me. Hardy Boys promo.
Take on the Dudleys in the first ever tag team table match here tonight. Let's take a look at how this rivalry started back this past week on Raw. It was the Dudleys and the Hardys going at it. And the Dudley boys drove the Hardys through tables in the middle of the ring. But it didn't stop there. The Hardys got some revenge on SmackDown this past Thursday night. Check out Matt Hardy from the stage, over 10 feet to the ground, through a table, through Devon and Bubba Ray Dudley. Are you guys ready for what should be or what could be a war tonight in Madison Square Garden?
Michael, we are going to go out there and tear the roof off of Madison Square Garden.
Terry, no. You think we're going to let you go out there tonight? Do you realize how violent this is going to be? No.
Everyone knows the Dudleys are extreme. Everyone knows the Dudleys are the master of putting people through tables. We weren't even supposed to be in the WWF, but we are. And tonight, we're going to put the Dudleys through tables, or we're going to die trying.
Let me tell you something. The Hardy Boys are not good promos. That sucked. All right. No, Terry. No. For starters, I forgot all about Terry and the Hardy Boys. Like, I know that's the reason they even had that first ladder match against Edge and Christian. But I forgot that it actually lasted for a while. And she's out there in like a bathrobe. So they're about to do some attitude era. She gonna snatch her clothes off stuff. Which is, they was kind of building to it, but maybe we'll get some of that later. Ali Hanker said the first match I watched was Benoit versus Lesnar on SmackDown. Was hooked from there like a crack addict. Crazy enough, I don't remember that match ever occurring. Probably because I didn't watch it. Maybe I didn't go back and watch every single episode of SmackDown or Raw for that era, but I did. I heard about that match. I never went back and watched it. To this day, I still haven't seen it. So if it's on the network somewhere, maybe I'll find it one day. But I haven't seen it. Darren Gordon Hill likes everything about this. 2007 was one of the top dogs. Batista in 2007 was one of the first things he saw in wrestling. The Dudley Boys are here.
Ass backwards! The people in New York City are! You people actually cheer for those pretty boy punks, the Hardy Boys! But you have the nerve to boo a person, the greatest pitcher in the history of baseball, my new hero, John Rocker.
That's just tasteless as it can be.
If you idiots were smart, you would elect John Rocker as your mayor so he can clean up this miserable city.
John Rocker, that's Jet Turner's.
And as far as the Hardy Boys are concerned, you might as well take your head, put them between your legs, and kiss your stinking ass in goodbye.
Now, this is a WWF pay-per-view in New York. The first 2 matches featured ECW guys. What did that tell you about what was going on at this point in time? All right. Lorenzo Granger says, I have a question. What is your special memories of wrestling? How you getting you into wrestling? I look at WWF in the year 2000 with stuff for me like The Rock. Well, like I said, my first event was Royal Rumble 1990. And so what really got me into wrestling was I thought every match was basically like the Royal Rumble, like different guys come to the ring and then they fight. That's what I thought. I was 6 years old. I started watching like Superstars and stuff like that in probably 93, 94. Kind of just found it on my own. I played the video games, of course, but it wasn't something I was really hooked on until probably 94. I think 94 is when we started doing the tape thing. We would double tape. We'd go to the local videotape store. We get 2 VCRs, and then we tape the old WWF shows onto tapes so we wouldn't have to keep re-renting the tape. But that's really what made me a super fan, because I actually sat and watched so many matches, just stuff on tape. And a lot of that stuff ended up going backwards. We ended up going backwards to WrestleMania and stuff like that we used to get on tape. And that was like some of my first memories is Hulk Hogan winning the Royal Rumble in 1990 and making tapes with my friends. So it wasn't like wrestling itself. It was more of a communal thing. Like we all were into wrestling. Oh, shit. They really did overdo that whole rainbow thing with Jeff Hardy, didn't they? They really overdid it. Leith Elsie says, this is a non-sequitur, but have you been to Traverse City, Michigan? I'm thinking about going to the Maritime School there. I've never been to Traverse City. Have I? I've never heard the Maritime School either. Maybe I should be able to find somebody who's been to Traverse City, though. WG Phil says 2005 or 2006 are my first years of being a fan. A lot of you guys are super young. Jesus H. Christ. Top Dog says, I talked to people at my trade school that's in their 30s, and they said when the Attitude Era started is when they started to not watch wrestling. And I was shocked because everyone loves the Attitude Era. Well, I stopped watching it in about mid-2000. I was still peeking in here and there, but there's a lot of that 2000, 2001 stuff I was not interested in, and I'm still not interested in it today, really. Like, it's just all of it seems like it's just like Royal Rumble 2001 is one of the. I hate that event. Like I really do. I hate Royal Rumble 2001. That was the thing about the Attitude Era. They went out of their way to make sure you didn't think anybody but Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to win anytime he was involved in it. At least with the Super Cena era or the Hulk Hogan era, there was a question. Can Hogan, survive the Gravest Challenge or whatever? It was basically just come watch Stone Cold Steve Austin beat up the entire roster and get no consequences. Like, that's nuts. Get the fuck out of here with this. Alto Johnson says, are they editing the chair shots to the head in this? No, I just saw a chair shot to the head. So no, they're not editing chair shots to the head. They're not editing the WWF logo either, believe it or not. So all of that is still there. It's amazing how much of the Young Bucks you can see in the Hardy Boys when you look at the Hardys, like young Hardys. You can see that a lot of it's the Young Bucks. Ooh, I always loved that spot where the Hardys do this one. Jeff do the splash and Matt does the leg drop. I always loved that spot. It was even better because you can't see Jeff when they do it. So you see Matt pointing at somebody, and then Jeff is just on the screen splashing Bubba Ray through the table. That was a great spot. They really went hard with this rainbow stuff with Jeff, though. This is so distracting. Just look at all this CTE they sitting around here collecting. All these guys getting hit in the head. The camera work here is very good. I don't know why Kevin Dunn decided to go Hollywood and fuck the whole camera thing up, but the camera work is actually very good. It's great to see a guy come from off camera to fly to be on camera. Wait a minute, is that Teddy Long as the referee? Maybe you guys have better vision than me. Is Teddy Long the referee to this match? Because I see a bald black dude. But I can't tell if that's Teddy Long or not. Top Dog says 2007 Batista with the suits was so awesome. Sad to see what he has become. You know what? I'm surprised he turned into what he's become too. I'm surprised also that he became such a big deal in Hollywood. Ooh, I always loved this spot where Devon forces the Hardy Boys to miss both of those table spots, and Matt goes crashing through a table, and then he dodges Jeff, and Jeff goes crashing through a table too. I mean, these guys are just openly hitting each other in the back of the head with these fucking chairs, man. It's a completely different ball game, bro. Top Dog says, what did you like better, DX or the NWO? Well, I was always a WWF guy, so I was always a DX too. Plus, Shawn Michaels was my favorite wrestler, starting in 1994, 93 maybe. He was one of my favorite wrestlers then. Even when I wasn't watching regularly, he was one of my favorite wrestlers. So I was always on the Shawn Michaels train. I was a fan of Razor Ramon too. Don't believe it, don't doubt it. But I just didn't like WCW that much. Oh, the elevated powerbomb through the table on Matt Hardy. That looked pretty good. It also looked, strangely enough, it looked safe, which is hard to say because you're powerbombing a guy from the top rope or whatever. But it looked pretty safe. I think that is Teddy Long. Nobody has said it wasn't. Alto Johnson says, I missed the basics of understanding of tables matches, where the only way for you to win is to put your opponent through the table, not yourself. How I missed the rules in wrestling. Well, I don't like tables matches. I think it's an interesting match type, but I think like so many things, it became so overused that tables matches, especially when they were divorced from any context, I don't see, there's no real reason to have a tables match ever that didn't involve the Dudley Boys. I'm sorry. If the Dudley Boys weren't involved, I just didn't see the purpose of a tables match. It's like, having a coffin match or a casket match with no Undertaker. Just don't see the purpose of it. Oh, so Alto Johnson is confirming that Teddy Long is the referee. I'm going to assume he got better vision than I do because my vision is very blurry. I can barely read the comments to this damn thing. This match is pretty good. It's better than I remember it being, to be quite honest. I don't remember loving the Dudley Boys, though. I wasn't super fans of the Dudleys. I watched them in ECW at the time, but I wasn't a super fan. I wasn't like really, really, really into the Dudleys. I just thought they were okay. They weren't my favorite tag team. They weren't my least favorite tag team. But they were having a lot of fun here. Jaden Young says, do you think if they kept John Cena as the Thug, he could have been the ghetto Thug version of Stone Cold? That shit wasn't going to work. They was getting rid of that whole Dr. Thugonomics thing as soon as he won the title anyway. That shit, they was getting rid of that one way or the other. He wasn't going to stay that way. He couldn't pull off that Wigger character forever. It just had a short shelf life to it. They found an interest. Ooh, shit. Damn. Jeff came in with some smoke on that damn shit. Ooh. And Bubba Ray met in kind with the smoke on the chair. Jesus Christ. I like that the security guys, the ushers, are wearing suits. They're better dressed than AEW wrestlers today. That shit's frustrated me so much on Dynamite. How Ethan Page and Stokely Hathaway were dressed. Oh. something. They just look like Bass Pro Shop dressing motherfuckers, man. I just can't stand that shit. Please dress like an adult. You know. Ooh, right in the nuts. Um, Alto Johnson says the NWO was always better than DX because no matter where you go, there were a lot of NWO shirts then. Well, yeah, they had the benefit of coming out first, so they got that first benefit of having a very simple design that everybody really liked. You know, the DX shirts, they were okay. I never had either one because I was too poor to just spend money on wrestling shirts. If I was gonna spend money on wrestling, I'd buy the event, you know, the video game or something. Oh, Jeff with the Swanton bomb off the top of the balcony. That was great. That was a great way to end the match. And look, he's actually selling it. You know, Matt has to hold Jeff up because of, you know, the Swanton bomb. It was amazing. You gotta love Jeff. You gotta love young Jeff Hardy, man. There's literally nobody crazier than young Jeff Hardy. Everybody who likes to be a daredevil on wrestling today is just they can't hold a candle to Jeff Hardy because he was doing that shit back when there was no guaranteed pop for it, you know. And he suffered for our sins, our Lord and Savior Jeff Hardy. Top Dog says, who meant more to wrestling, Stone Cold Steve Austin or the NWO? Well, I would take it to this next level and say without the NWO, there never would have been a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because it took for the NWO to push the envelope to force Vince to do something different than what he was doing. What Vince was doing was searching for the next top star, but he wasn't looking at Steve Austin to be that guy. You know, I think if Vince would have had his way, it probably would have been the Patriot or somebody like that. It wouldn't have been Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I think you needed the NWO and Hogan turning heel and a lot of the stuff that they were doing to make Stone Cold Steve Austin happen. Because, yeah, Austin won the King of the Ring around the same time that the NWO formed. But the NWO formed, it was so massive due to Hulk Hogan being turning heel. While Stone Cold Steve Austin, they were still trying to find his voice. And the whole thing where Bret Hart would come a little bit later. I definitely think you have to give Bret credit for that. But I think the desire to push the envelope came from Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who do you think is hotter, Christy Hemme or Candice Michelle? I never really thought that Christy Hemme was all that hot. I mean, sorry. So I'm going to go with Candice Michelle. So Lorenzo Granger says, I thought WWF divas are very beautiful, like Ivory, Trish Stratus, Lita, amazing beauty. I never really thought that Ivory was hot. I was never really an Ivory is hot kind of guy. Now, looking back on it, she looked more mature and womanly than some of the women at the time, but she just never came across as being hot to me. Oh, here comes Sergeant Slaughter, who is also now dressed like a AEW wrestler. And is this Renee Goulet? Oh, it's Tony Garea. Oh, fuck. I know I was getting it mixed up. Tony Garea, it looks like he stepped off the set of The Irishman. Lorenzo Granger said, I thought The Rock was amazing, compelling character. He was so entertaining, great baby face. Well, yeah, I agree. Hey, it's the Fabulous Moolah. You can't talk about her today without everybody claiming she's the worst person to ever been born. And she's wearing a glittery shirt. And some young man wanted to kiss the Fabulous Moolah, and he got a kiss out of her. Good Lord. Johnny V. Johnny V? Then, okay. Classy Freddie Blassie. Man, that dude was old when I was young. They loved Classy Freddie Blassie in New York. I was legit upset when he passed away. I really was. Jerry King Lawler is holding court in the ring. Jerry Lawler's in his 40s at this point, if I remember correctly. Jerry Lawler was like 40-something when this occurred. Like, he was already old when he came to the WWF. So a lot of people like question, like, why did Vince never really push Jerry Lawler? I think he was over the age of 30. He was over the age of 35, I think, when he first came to WWF. So, speaking of Ivory, here's Ivory. She's wearing like a flannel. Not a flannel, but like a sweatshirt. This is some kind of bikini contest. It looks like it's about to happen. And here comes Terry, and she's still wearing her little bathrobe, whatever. Yeah, they're about to do some sexy stuff because Terry is in heels. There ain't about to be no wrestling match. It's a little let me up because the boys just jumped off shit and busted up a bunch of tables and stuff. And now the girls about to come out here and make people happy. Hey, it's Jackie. I remember seeing Jackie a long time ago. Miss Jackie, Miss Texas. Top dog. It's crazy how the WWE got better numbers when Stone Cold went on hiatus. Well, I'm interested. BB, who the fuck is BB? Do I have to put the Google in to see who BB is? Barbara Bush. I don't believe that was her real name. Come on. Whoever oiled her legs needs to get fired. I don't remember shit about this. I have no idea what's going on. Oh no, it's Luna. Oh, it's Luna. What is she doing? She don't look happy to be there. She's a fish out of water with this. She got a lot of hair too. What the fuck? I feel like she's gonna fall over walking in them damn heels. God. Oh boy. It reminds me of that Vice documentary on Luna. She looks so unhappy. Who is this chick? Oh, it's the cat. Okay. That's Jerry Lawler's wife. She's the women's champion. What? WWF Women's Champion, the cat, who was married to Jerry the King Lawler. What was the name of the cat's finishing move? Hey, that's that guy who hangs out with Conan O'Brien. What the hell is his name? Andy Richter. Okay, there we go. I loved Conan O'Brien when I was a kid. I legit loved Conan O'Brien. He was so fucking funny. He was hilarious. I used to love the in the year 2000. I used to love those segments, man. Conan O'Brien was fucking hilarious. I always thought he was funnier than anybody else that was on TV at that time, man. Way funnier than Jay Leno and that sock face asshole from NBC. The other one. Not Leno, the other one. All of the like half the women in this match or segment shouldn't be here. Ivory, Luna, and Jackie have no business being in this thing. Oh wait, Ivory don't look too bad. She's jacked, but she don't like this. It's pretty clear. And she's wearing this thong. She's nice and bronzed. Hey, look at that. It looks nice on her. It's clearly not her thing. Why is she involved in this? Oh, they're judging the bikini contest. Jon Stewart came after Conan O'Brien. Jon Stewart was fucking hilarious, but he came after Conan O'Brien. Around this time, it was a lot of the it was Jay Leno, it was it was some of the other guys too. What the fuck is the name? You know what I'm talking about. Old guy, gap in his teeth. I don't think Jon Stewart was really like on top of things in 2000. You know, he became a lot funnier later though. Jon Stewart really took over later. Stephen Colbert was great too when he started doing the little conservative character. People thought that was like his real personality. What on earth is Jacqueline doing? What on earth is she doing? Auntie, put it away. Oh, good lord. Oh, Letterman. Yeah, Letterman. Yeah. I don't know why I couldn't remember his name for shit. Oh, what on earth? She was out there in that. At least, well, Jackie got to give her A for enthusiasm. Now here's BB, who I have no idea who that is. Maybe I need to watch more 2000s WWF to get who she is. There's too much silicone in this ring right now. I think every chick in the ring right at this point, except Luna, has had a boob job. Every single one. Who the fuck is BB? I'm still trying to sit here and figure out who the hell BB is. I wish I was like a what culture YouTuber or something like that. Maybe I would know that off the top of my head, but I don't. I have no idea who BB is, and to me, she comes across a lot like Deborah McMichael. Okay, now here's the women's champion stripping naked in the middle of the ring. What is she wearing? She's wearing tape. She's wearing that bubble wrap. Oh, a bubble wrap bikini. Oh, Jerry Lawler, of course, is overselling this. Jerry Lawler, of course, is selling the shit out. Damn, the cat is small. She's small as shit, man. She's fucking tiny, bro. She's the women's champion. She's tiny as hell. Good lord. Alto Johnson says they want to wrestle, not pose. This was back when the women had no voice. Well, the women always had a voice. They just they were more insistent that the women participate and stuff like. Oh, and here's Mae Young. And here's Mae Young. So we know business is about to pick up. This was a favorite WWF gimmick. Have sexy women and throw Mae Young ass in there for the comedy. I love Mae Young for stuff like this, man. It's crazy that there's a whole generation of people that this is all they know Mae Young for, is being like the horny old lady of, which is great because it was like we got to see a different side of this tough old lady. She was in her like 70s or something at this point. And her and Moolah are so old. She's gonna show her puppies. Jaden Young says, "Am I the only one that finds Brock Lesnar overrated? I liked him in 02 and 03, but man, he's been pushed hard. People talk about Super Cena, but Brock was worse because at least Cena had charisma. And MS, I don't know what MS. Brock has charisma. Oh, the bathing suit where she's joinking this thing up her crotch. This shit is insanely silly. She's the only one with no tan. She's threatening to show her tits. I want to know what Vince McMahon's facial expression was. Oh no, she brought her titty out. Oh no. Oh no. She popped her titty out. Oh, look at Mark Henry trying to cover her up. Got to get that all cover up her goodies. Oh hell no. Oh god. Mark Henry is sweating doing this one thing. That's all he had to do was hold this old lady and he's sweating. This shit is great. It's an awful segment, but it's funny at least. I bet Sergeant Slaughter's like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Maggot. Vince McMahon, you maggot. Jerry Lawler wants Mae Young removed from the ring immediately. It seems like this is gonna be the only bling they bleep all night is Mae Young taking her top off. This is unreal. But Jackie looks tremendous. She just reminds me a lot of like her auntie. You know, I don't see Jackie as being super sexy though. She just gives off big auntie energy to me. I never thought Terry was sexy either. She was a little gung ho with the nakedness though. She's also very small. This segment went on entirely too long. It just went on entirely too long. I think they only got 6 matches on this show. But this segment here is too long. And I guess it was the Mae Young being involved with it. It kind of took away from some of the overt sexiness of it. Hey, WWF New York. Remember that? Hey, it's the coach. I didn't know Coach was there in 2000. You got all these weirdos grabbing on Coach. Coach, don't let them eat you, Coach. Look, so many people putting their middle fingers up. Like, what on earth? See, this is the kind of demographic that's very, very excited about wrestling in 2000, but it's not going to work out. That sucks.
So I can wear it up.
Jericho in China.
Be chivalrous for once in your life and let me wear the belt for a change.
Chivalrous? What do you think? This is medieval
Oh,
times?
no, but at least you could be a
I
gentleman.
wanted to one gentleman. Guys, you're up next. Let me
Hey, that's Dave Hebner.
When you guys get there, we'll find out who is the undisputed Intercontinental champion. Okay?
Earl, come on.
Oh, that's Earl.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh, look what you did now, Chris. Thanks a
Don't
lot.
worry
Now
about
that
it. Don't worry about it. Listen, we're on next in about 10 minutes. I'll have the belts around my waist for you anyway. So all this.
Yeah.
Okay, that was nice. Oh man, so many dead people. Starting to see dead people. I don't like that. That's the one bad thing about watching old wrestling is you inevitably run into dead people. I think Dave Hebner is dead and China is dead. They're the only people so far that are dead. Outside of Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah. Everybody else in that match was alive, to my knowledge. I don't know about BB. Can't be sure. But I know that Ivory or Luna Vachon is dead. But they're about to have a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. And one of these contenders is Hardcore Holly. Hardcore, at least he's in great shape. He looks like a pro wrestler, by God. Look at him. He's jacked to the gills. Hey, can't hate on that. Hardcore Holly looks tremendous. He's got the charisma of a snowman, but the guy looks great. He looks great. Oh yeah, you'll never see this again in 2000. Yeah, we're done with this kind of stuff. Brock had charisma in like 02 and 03, and he was doing like the stuff with Eddie. He did stuff with Undertaker and stuff like that. He always had fun in the ring. You know? It just depends on how many painkillers he had in his system at one time. Brock was in complete don't give a fuck mode in UFC, so that made him a lot more fun. You could tell Vince Russo is involved with this because we have co-Intercontinental champions. The co-Intercontinental champion idea is so fucking Jesus H. This is ridiculous. They're sharing a title. It's ridiculous. Yeah, man, I get like that. Like when it comes to people doing disgraceful shit, like putting your middle finger up at the camera, I'm just kind of like, why? Like, what is that supposed to prove? What do we got going here? I hate it so much. I hate it. I hate it to a ninth degree. Alto John says Jericho and China are co-holders of the Intercontinental title, and so they're going to settle it in a triple threat. It seems. Hate to say this, but China seems to be too gentle in her offense and makes the whole. I guess you're about to continue your comment.
Jericho!
Hey, it's Chris Jericho.
And after tonight,
And whatever happened to this
will
guy?
I become the true, undisputed Intercontinental Champion? The Jerichoholics of the Big Apple will throw a celebration party that'll make the Millennium Bash in Times Square look like my sister's 7th birthday party. It'll
Hardcore Holly
be a
three's a party
celebration
too.
so huge, so grandiose, so spectacular that it will never, ever be forgotten again.
Why would it be forgotten, Jericho? They haven't thought of it yet. Stop it. That's me critiquing Chris Jericho's. I just can't believe how swollen Hardcore Holly is over here in this corner. He's just too amped up. His heart rate's probably like super high. Heart rate probably like 105. Top Dog says, was the average audience of the Attitude Era teens or college students? Well, a lot of college students were teenagers, so it's about the same age bracket. But Hardcore Holly being jacked and Jericho not being jacked is hilarious. But Jericho's never been jacked at any point in his career. China being in there with these guys is fucking. I would rather China be in there than fucking Hardcore Holly, to be honest. At least China was over, for Christ's sake. What do we got going on here? Oh shit. That was a hell of a bump she just took. Jericho's offense does not look convincing at this point. His chops look weak as shit too. Okay. This is the first time we've seen an Irish whip all night. Nice drop kick from Hardcore Holly. Yeah. Not bad for Bama. Not bad, yo, Bama. Alto Johnson says China seems too gentle in her offense, and that makes the whole match clunky. A couple of good near falls, but everything is too clunky and short to be anything. Well, you talking about China's offense, it's already part of the problem. China just never really got good at offense. She got good at displays of strength, but that was about it, really. She never really got good at, attacking. Damn, wait a minute. Is Hardcore Holly trying to throw a Hurricane Rana? Nice little counter there by Jericho. Here comes China to break it up. And Jericho just kind of let her do it. He saw her coming and everything and didn't do anything about it. Pretty ridiculous. That back elbow was weak. Her kick is garbage. That clothesline was pretty solid, though. China is actually kind of slim in this match. Like, she's not as jacked as she would get, I think, a year or so later. She's well built here. She's not like super jacked like she was in '98. Like, China was huge in '98. I mean, my God, you should have seen her. She was big as shit. She actually shaped like a wrestler here, though. And if you didn't know any better, you would think China was a man. Oh, wow. He just destroyed Hardcore Holly with that crossbody. I like how China just let Hardcore Holly take the catch, though. That was smart on her part. Top Dog, would you agree that the Attitude Era was more mainstream than Hogan Era? I would argue it was. I think you'd be incorrect. Hogan Era produced mid-carders that are household names. Like, the Attitude Era couldn't even do that. You had to be like the top star. Like Hogan, Rock, China, those kinds of people. They became household names. But like Coco Beware is a name I still hear when people talk about wrestling, believe it or not. From the Hogan era. The Honky Tonk Man. People who you don't even think matter. Tito Santana is a name I still hear. Greg Valentine, believe it or not. People actually still talk about Greg the Hammer Valentine. But you had Jake Snake Roberts, you had Roddy Piper, you had just so many guys from that golden era of Hogan and stuff like that went on to be the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. They went on to be, really big stars, or household names, people who would sell tons of action figures and stuff. I can't really tell you that from the Attitude Era. It probably seemed like it was bigger because, like I said, the business was booming, but I don't think so. China's top rope splash was not good. And then Jericho landed on top of her and she didn't sell it. Probably because she wasn't meant to, but whatever. Jericho threw the weakest punch possible at China, which is, I guess, the right way to do things. You know, this is Triple H's girlfriend, as far as we know at this point. Oh, that was a nice little counter into the low blow. Did Jake the Snake Roberts really need a championship to be great? No. That was the good thing about the Hogan years. Even though Hogan was the champion all the time, it was not out of the ordinary for a guy like Jake Roberts or Roddy Piper or the Honky Tonk Man or Andre the Giant or whomever to be considered a top level main event guy with no belt. You know, I'm talking not even Intercontinental champion. Jake Roberts never won anything. And he was without a doubt a main event guy. Without a doubt. Oh shit, they did a doomsday device on China. And she kicked out of it? Oh, what the fuck? Nah, that's crap. Well, it wasn't even a doomsday device, it was a crossbody. But still, I can't believe she kicked out of it. Why would you let her kick out of that? I don't know. I guess it don't matter at this point. This shit 23 years old. Well, 22 years old. You know? No complaining about people kicking out of super finishes back then. I always thought his types were pretty boring back then, Jericho's. Top Dog says, Mongo, what's your thoughts on Attitude Era? Sometimes you could have been a great heel being the anti-Attitude Era guy. I don't I'm not really anti-Attitude Era. I just typically don't think it's the best shit I've ever seen. That's because it's hyped. Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. She did the superplex and somehow Hardcore Holly ended up pinning her. How did that happen? She's the one who performed the move. Are they thinking about this match or as they go through it, or are they just doing shit? Hardcore Holly been blown up since his entrance. I can tell you that much. It ain't quite working out for the boy. He looks great, but he ain't got the motor. China's got a chair. Oh, nice. She just caved his fucking head in with that chair. What is she doing? Why didn't she just pin him? What is she trying to do? Oh, she about to use the lion tamer? Oh, now she just want to fuck with Jericho. Okay. It's crazy that they decided that China and Jericho were going to be feuding, but then we're just going to throw Hardcore Holly in it. 1, 2, and 3. Jericho wins it with the lion salt. Okay. Jericho is the undisputed Intercontinental champion. Interesting decision to have him beat China. Interesting decision. I mean, we could have continued this storyline by having Hardcore Holly be the one to take the loss, but I guess co-champions is just too stupid to keep it going. How long were they doing that stupid co-champions thing? It worked for Lay Cool because it was a women's title and nobody cared. But this is the Intercontinental Championship here, and we had a fucking co-champion. What kind of dumb shit is that? The tag teams in the Attitude Era are more famous than most of the mid-carders from the Attitude Era, New Age Outlaws, Hardys, etc. Yeah, and that's really a strength of the Attitude Era is how strong the tag team division was. But a lot of it was gimmick matches, if we think about it. You know, just be fair. A lot of the Attitude Era, the stuff that come out of there is gimmick matches. You got to give China some credit. She's not blown up. Hey, it's The Rock, and he's wearing a jersey.
You and 29 other guys.
I miss when I liked The Rock.
The Rock has come back to New York City.
Rock, tonight, you and 29 other superstars will be in that ring for the Royal Rumble match, and you have a bullseye on your chest.
Hey, it's a young Michael Cole.
You may be concerned with.
Well, The Rock says this. There are 2 WWF superstars who The Rock has a concern with. There are 2 who might give The Rock problems. Number 1 is going to be Crash Holly. Number 2 is going to be Headbanger Mosh. And The Rock says if he can get by those 2, then he might have a shot at winning the Royal Rumble.
Rock with
They could bury in the roster
with all
again.
due respect, shouldn't he be a little more concerned with, say, the Big Show?
Well, The Rock says this: you should be concerned with fixing yourself a nice tall glass of shut-up juice. Fix it. The Rock says this: Big Show, do you actually think that you're going to win the Royal Rumble? Do you actually think that you're going to take the great one and throw him over the top rope? Do you actually think that you're going on to WrestleMania and becoming the WWF champion? Well, The Rock says this: he wipes a monkey's ass with what you think.
Man.
Big Show, The Rock says this: he's going to go out there in the middle of the People's Ring, Royal Rumble. The Rock's music is going to hit. If you smell, and 20,000 Rock fans all stand on their feet, goosebumps on their arm, electricity going through their body. The Rock says this: as God, as The Rock's witness, he hopes, he prays that you, Big Show, and The Rock are the last 2 in the ring. So The Rock thinks, no, he knows, no. The Rock guarantees to win the Royal Rumble right here in New York City.
And that is a huge guarantee being out. They smell what The Rock's cooking out there.
And
This
The
man
Rock
is very
says this:
good.
Big Show, just as sure as The Rock is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best there ever was. The Rock says, as sure as The Rock has a Brahma bull tattooed on his arm, is as sure as The Rock is going to WrestleMania and becoming, without a shadow of a doubt, the best damn WWF champion there ever was. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Hey, The Rock he's so good. He's great. I don't care how much, I don't care about the promo being written. I don't care about the skit element of it. Him burying the roster, it's all just very good. Everything that he did, like as far as the way he was moving his body, was very creative. Like how when he made the comment about Headbanger Mosh, and then he looked away from the camera, like he wasn't looking at the camera. He looked off into the distance. Like little stuff like that made him come across as like being really huge. I love The Rock. Sometimes I hate The Rock, but I love The Rock. But sometimes I hate The Rock. And now is one of those times where I like The Rock. I don't hate him. They're about to have the New Age Outlaws versus Bradshaw and Farouk. Okay. Wow. The Bradshaw and Farouk beat the shit out of the Outlaws on Raw, didn't they? That seems about right. Alto Johnson says the reason I hate the Attitude Era is how they treated the Intercontinental title like shit. They treated the world title like shit too. They treated all the belts like shit. They even created a shit title and still treated all the belts like shit. The only thing with the world title is, at the very least, the best guys had it. They were changing the belt every couple of weeks, but at least the best guys had it. The Intercontinental title was a mess. You never know what bum was going to be carrying it that week. So that was tough. The IC title had such a tough time in the Attitude Era. It was like, hey, give it to this bum. Oh no, we don't know what to do. Give it to that bum. Also, when you think of it, the Hogan era also had a great tag team division. Of course they did. They had the Bulldogs. They had the Hart Foundation. They had Power and Glory in the later years. They had the Rockers. They had the Brain Busters, Tully and Arn. They had the Killer Bees. They had Demolition. They had the Legion of Doom. We're talking about from 84 to 92. They had a really good tag team division at that point in time. Hey, it's the Road Dogg. He's talking. Oh no, they're playing music. I forgot. Anyway, Keith Elsie says Conan O'Brien said the "shut up juice" line came from him. His friend who worked at WWE used it for The Rock. That's interesting. That's interesting. Shut up, juice. Would that friend be named Brian Gerwitz, by the way? Anyway, Black saying 97. Who would you say is a better promo, Rock or between Rock and Austin? I think it depends on what you're looking for. Pure entertainment value, The Rock. Storytelling value, probably Steve Austin. The Rock has to do all of his gimmicks and affectations first. Like I was just talking about the way he moves his body, the eyebrows. It's a full experience when it comes to The Rock. You don't just want to hear what The Rock has to say. You also want to watch The Rock move. And a lot of it is very entertaining. But when it comes to just cutting to the bone and getting to the point of whatever it is y'all guys are doing, it's hard to beat Steve Austin as a promo. Oh shit. The Alcoholics just crashed the ring and just started just beating the tar out of these dudes. It's amazing. Bradshaw will be WWE champion in 4 years. Of all the people we've seen thus far, Bradshaw will be WWE champion quicker than fucking Jeff Hardy. But not Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle was champion later this year. Let's see. Top Dog says what he says. I love how people don't call out Austin for always beating people. He basically did what Super Cena and Hogan did. And always beating people, but he didn't do it as much as they did. Shit. I'm telling you, one of the reasons why I kind of fell out of the Attitude Era was Undertaker and Kane versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Steve Austin, I think technically he lost, but he was fighting both of them off at the same time. I was like, you know what? Fuck this. This is dumb. Undertaker not having a good time was also not fun for me. I did not like Undertaker in this era. Wasn't a big fan. And then also Austin beating Kane on a random episode of Raw. That was real dumb. Who has the best mid-card division out of all the era? Well, easily Hogan. Easily Hogan. You had Savage, who was basically a main event guy. You had Steamboat, who was basically a main event guy. Piper, who was basically a main event guy. Randy Savage, who's basically a main event guy. I said Savage already. I said Piper already. Ted DiBiase, that's what I was thinking of. Who's basically a main event guy. Then you had they brought in Earthquake in the later years, Warrior, Andre. It's just then you had the Hart Found. Ooh wee! That clothesline from Hell was great. Great sell by Billy. Good job, Billy. I can't believe Billy is still over and still doing stuff. Ooh. Everything about Farouk and Bradshaw is just incredibly physical. Like they're not pulling shit. Because these guys, they must not like these dudes. They're not pulling nothing. But like I was saying, like the tag team division, the Intercontinental Championship division, it was so much stronger in the Hogan years. The Attitude Era, that Intercontinental title was getting brutalized. Oh, here comes X-Pac. Oh, he jump kicked Bradshaw. That was nice. And then Farouk handled it with the spine buster. Nice little setup there for the Fame Master. Is this match over already? Oh, fuck your mother. Why the hell? Oh, wait a minute. How the referee didn't see X-Pac? Never mind. Never mind. This match was like 4 and 5 minutes. Nobody's sweating. And, they got to win. So, what was that about? What was that about? Ron is not happy. He's not thrilled about this at all. But at least it was with a finish. He hit him with the Fame Master. I don't like that Bradshaw got right up from it, though. Like, he pinned him, and then he just basically got right back up. That was kind of nutty. Top Dogs, I went back and watched old Cena promos of him roasting Lita, and they were hilarious. Yeah, Cena was very good. He was so good in that role of being sort of the asshole. They about to do this Cactus Jack Triple H match already? Oh, well, we're almost halfway through the event already. Okay. Black saying 97. Mongo, if you had to start your own wrestling company, who would you rather have as your top star? Hogan, Cena, or Austin? Well, what year is it? Because if it's 1986, I want Hogan. If it's 1997, I want Austin. Different skill sets for different eras. I think Hogan works because it's a classic gimmick. It's a Superman character, so it kind of works no matter where you put it. But the crowd response and the way people don't respond very well to Superman characters today. They just don't. They've been subverted too many times. So I don't think Superman like characters could work today. So I think a Stone Cold Steve Austin could still work today, but not Hulk Hogan. You said this match was 2 minutes, actually. Yeah, it seems about right. I thought I gave him too much credit for it being 4. But then again, I had to remember Vince Russo was involved. And Vince Russo, even if you're over, you don't get that long in the match. Who does Braun Breaker remind you more of, Rick or Scott? He certainly reminds me more of Rick. His voice sounds like Rick's voice. I was listening to the Steiner Brothers cut a promo, their debut promo on Primetime Wrestling, and I swear to God, if you close your eyes, you think Braun Breaker was in the room. And I knew instantly, like, that's Rick Steiner. Like, I already know his voice is, I know Rick Steiner's voice. I listened to it for damn near 10 years. But Braun sounds just so much like Rick. He looks like Rick, too. But I think he's got more of Scotty's athleticism. Like, I think Rick Steiner, he started wrestling before Scotty did, but Braun Breaker is he's got the athleticism of of Scott, rather. Like the fluidity in his offense, the explosiveness, all of that stuff is basically some stuff he got from Scott. Scott is tremendous in that way. Hey, look what I was telling you guys about when it comes to Triple H visually selling stuff. Look how he once again visually sold the Cactus Jack reveal. He sold it with fear. He sold it by backing away. God, he was actually very good at his job, putting other people over. Hey, he didn't need to always lose in order to put you over. And plus, in this situation, they're still trying to convince people that Triple H is the top guy. Which is part of the reason why this match even occurred in the first place. They're trying to convince people that Triple H is the top guy and deserves to be in here with Hogan and not Hogan, but Rock and Cena, Rock and Austin and all these guys. This is the kind of thing you have to do when you put over a guy for the first time and you're about to make him the champion for the first time. You got to send him through the crucible. You got to convince people that he deserves to be the champion. They stopped doing this. This is part of the problem. Alto Johnson said, this is the match that made Triple H, in my opinion. Mick Foley is so amazing, and he and Triple H put on one hell of a fight. Everything looked convincing, the blood, the barbed wire, etc. I agree. And this is old school WWF. We're going to make a guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him the belt. Then we're going to give him a bunch of tough opponents. Not cupcakes, tough opponents. And it's hard to wade through that water. They stopped doing this for some reason. They stopped giving guys tough opponents. Like, you could tell what kind of title run the guy's going to have now about who his first opponent is going to be. Like Benoit, when he got the title for the first time, his first opponent was Kane. I was like, yeah, there's something wrong here. Clearly they don't view him as being, a strong contender, a strong champion, because they're not putting him in the crucible. They gave him Kane as his first title defense outside of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And he just knew he wasn't going to be champion for very long after that. They did the same thing to Bryan Danielson when he won the title. What was it? When he won the title at WrestleMania, he had to wrestle Kane, mid-Carter. Kofi Kingston had to wrestle Dolph Ziggler. It was just like, yeah, they're about to. That's a go ahead and get this run in, because we're about to take the belt from you as soon as you face somebody with some real notoriety to their name. We're not going to feed you anybody who matters. But this is when they're serious about booking somebody. You start putting real opponents in your way. Like real challengers. Guys you could really theoretically lose the belt to. Alvin Everett. Are they Dudley's, Hardys, and Edge and Christian to blame for today's spot fest of wrestling? Well, partially, yes. Yeah. But again, you have to remember that a lot of that stuff is ripped off from ECW. So Public Enemy, the Eliminators, RVD and Sabu. A lot of them was doing that stuff before the Dudleys and the Hardys were doing it, before Ed and Christian was doing it. So, but yeah, you can safely blame that trio of people, that trio of teams, for fucking up tag team wrestling. You know, go back and watch tag team wrestling from the early '90s and stuff like that. There was no spots. There wasn't a lot of spots like that. Now you just got spots in regular matches with guys doing all kind of crazy shit. In your opinion, what's the gimmick of the Undertaker? Well, the idea of the Undertaker, as they said, it was supposed to be like this old Western Undertaker. But then at some point they decided he was a zombie or a demon or a slasher or something like that. So they decided to add those elements. Like the idea was supposed to be he was supposed to be a creepy, kind of like a grave robber or a guy who just hung out at graves. But then it kind of morphed over time to like this mystical wizard thing, and I don't know what the fuck it is. It was like when like '94 happens and he's rising from the dead and all this kind of stuff. Like we're far beyond old timey Undertaker. We're going beyond that. He's going into magic territory, and at that point we're lost because I don't know what the fuck he's doing at that point. But for some reason, they found things that still worked within the character. Hey, look, Triple H is selling. He's selling Mick Foley talking to him. Like, that is... And then Foley is winning the fist fight. Triple H lets him win the fist fight. How often do you see this today's when these kids just start throwing hands at each other? The heel takes like 6 unprotected punches to the head and then starts throwing punches. Like, that's ridiculous. Triple H, to be honest, took too many punches before he took a bump. You're supposed to take no more than 3, but whatever. Like the jabs in the corner, that's a great spot. And Triple H is sinking. He should have sunk faster, but we're starting to destroy punches in this era. Punches don't mean shit. But yeah, you can see how Triple H he's not looking to get a lot of his shit in. They're doing the shine here. They're really putting over Cactus. Triple H is out of his element. He's overwhelmed by the situation. I don't need to hear the commentary to know what's going on here because I can look at Triple H's body language and look at Foley's body language. Even though some of the spots is pretty obvious, like that leg drop spot, I saw that coming a mile away. I wish they would do better to cover those kinds of things up, but it's only gotten worse since then. Alvin Everett says, could you compare the superstars of NXT 2.0 to superstars of the past? Well, no, because a lot of them, it's a different vibe because a lot of the kids in NXT 2.0 is coming across like a college campus. Like that's one of the things that I actually liked about it. Is it came across like all these kids are on a college campus. They all living together, and this is a classroom setting. NXT is like a classroom. And you've got your jocks, and you've got your nerds, and you've got everything is kind of cobbled together. It's never been like that before. It's never been like that before. So it seemed like, and I think somebody said it best, it felt like a sitcom where, all of the characters know each other. And they all interact with each other at some point. Of course, they're starting to dissipate that now. It's becoming a lot more pro wrestling. But then in the era of NXT 2.0, man, it was fun. There's so much crossover with the characters and stuff like that. Why would Mick Foley run head on into a chair shot? Why would you do that? And he just walked right into it. What the fuck? Lord Kratos, what up, bro? Thugonomics Cena or Chain Gang Cena? Well, I didn't really care for Thugonomics Cena. Super Cena or Chain Gang Cena, wasn't a big fan of that either. Russo was not gone until late stage 2000, later in 2000. Because he was there in like, I think April of 2000. I think that's when he jumped ship. I will have to consult the book. But I think he was already gone. Or he was about to leave at this point. I think he did WrestleMania 2000. But I don't think he was gone yet. If he was gone by now, wait, I think maybe he jumped ship in late '99. Now that you mention it, um, I have to think about that because I think Israel Massey is onto a point here. I think I'm trying to remember. He was certainly in WCW by April. He was certainly there by April. Was he gone in January? I'm not sure. Was he gone? I think he left in October of '99. Now that I think about it, I have to consult the book to be sure. But I think you're right. I think he was already gone. WG Phil said there weren't any stars during the Bryan and Kofi. No, well, they could have continued feuding against each other at that point. Then, you know, see, that's the thing. Everybody thought that if you go back to like 2000, right, and you see this match, Foley versus Triple H, neither of these guys are The Rock. Neither of these guys are Austin. So you wouldn't think that these two guys are really the main event guys. They're kind of placeholders until Rock or Austin shows up. You know, they're not really considered. Triple H is still floundering. You know, he's been a top guy for only a short amount of time. I think only maybe a year, maybe a couple of months, really. Because he won a title at SummerSlam or something like that, right? So they have been toying with Triple H for a little while now. And Foley, despite the fact that he had, traded the belt with The Rock and stuff like that, he was never considered a guy who got a run. I mean, Foley did win the title and then lose it the next night. He was that guy. He wasn't the top guy. These weren't the top guys. And you put them in situations and in storylines in which they can become top guys. That's not what they cared to do for like Kofi or Bryan Danielson. They didn't care at all about making them top guys. They didn't give a shit about them. Top Dog says, I went back and watched this match, and Cena versus JBL at Judgment Day a couple of months ago. And just like this match, that bloodbath Cena had with JBL is what made him, in my opinion. And yeah, and I think that even though Bradshaw isn't considered to be a super top guy by most people, that match, he had those wars with Eddie Guerrero. And he had those wars with Undertaker. And that run where he basically had, a bunch of crazy matches with Big Show and Kurt Angle and Booker T and stuff. He had went through the crucible. He had went through it. He was a tough guy. It was believable that if, Bradshaw really cut loose on Cena, that he could win the title back. So yeah, I think that you got to have those kinds of matches at some point. They did try it with Hangman Page. To put him in the bloodbath and have him get his shit kicked in, but he still manages to win. Just unfortunate that this fucking guy is he just doesn't look tough. Black Sand says, my bad, I meant to say what's the worst gimmick of the Undertaker. Oh shit. Probably whatever had him wearing those goddamn leopard print pants. What was that? 01 Undertaker, it was bad. The American Badass didn't have the legs that it should have had. The babyface version, like when he went Big Evil, now that was real shit. Business picked up. I hate that I missed all of that stuff. That's the stuff that I kind of went back and started watching. Like his second match against Hogan, when he won the title back, he had to win it with a choke slam because Hogan wouldn't take another tombstone. Asshole. Anyway. That's the stuff I liked. I didn't really care for the Ministry of Darkness either. There's just too many bums. If they'd have kept the Ministry of Darkness as like Gangrel and the Brood, that might have been good. But they had like Midian and Viscera, and I was like, oh hell no, it's not good. Alto John said the best street fight of all time. Felt like going back and watching this after last night's AEW main event, and I'm happy I did. It's a masterpiece in terms of storytelling. Yes, and it's also very connected to the first Cactus Jack Triple H match, because they had already had this storied history, and this is something that WWE does better than everybody, is that they remember that guys have feuded before. This is something that I really don't like about modern WWE. And I think I don't know where it came from. I think it's maybe Kevin Dunn and his nobody cares about the past stuff. But remembering that guys had long-term feuds before and what happened in those feuds and how those feuds went is very important to the overall narrative. Like, these two guys had been feuding since 1996. This is 4 years later, right? What do you mean? Maybe not 96, 97. This is 3 years later. King of the Ring 97 is when the Triple H, Cactus Jack, or Mick Foley feud began. Now, they didn't have a 3 years straight feud. They had things that came and went, which is why it made perfect sense, even though it was Stone Cold Steve Austin who was supposed to drop the belt to Triple H, and he decided not to. It made perfect sense, and maybe it was by accident that Foley was the guy who dropped the belt to Triple H. It makes perfect sense because it was Foley who ended up dropping the King of the Ring to Triple H, So it made sense, and the storyline is you get to see the history that these guys have already had thus far in this match. It's very good. And that's something WWF does better than everybody. They remember when guys had these long feuds and they go back to them sometimes. Like the New Days and the Usos today. They go back to it every once in a while. Unfortunately, they don't spice it up enough. Alvin Everett says, I don't know how Triple H completed this match with that huge gash. I don't think he couldn't have quit. Like, what the hell is he going to do? I can't go. My leg, it's kind of cut. What's he going to do? He going to tell Vince, hey, I got to cut this match short? No, Vince take the fucking belt from him. See, Grayson Waller is awesome. He already has more charisma than most people on the main roster. I agree. He's very slimy, which is always a great heel thing to have. Is for you to just be an absolute scumbag. And he just gives off scumbag energy before he even says anything. He just has everything about him just comes across as being sleazy, and it's great because he plays into it. Oh, wait a minute. Was that Hugo he just sucker punched? James Rowe Cash. Thanks, man. Thanks everybody for stopping in. Grayson Waller reminds me of a young, watered down legend killer Randy. I don't know about that one. I wouldn't say that. There's bits of edge there, and I think there's a lot of the Miz. TN Pyro, we are in the middle thereabouts of Cactus Jack versus Triple H. Oh my goodness. Hey, look, Foley's trying to win the match and not just do spots. Grayson Waller and Brian Breaker be considered jocks. Well, they are jocks. Grayson Waller was a boxer, and Brian Breaker played football. Well, technically, almost everybody in NXT plays some kind of sport at this point. But as far as it played into their characters, Grayson Waller is definitely the loud starting quarterback kind of guy. Earl Hebner is doing a really good job in this match too. Oh, look at this. The Crimson Mask. Triple H versus Cactus Jack Street Fighter, Triple H versus Cactus Jack Hell in a Cell. Well, I didn't really like the Hell in a Cell match. And plus I think it was a perfect setup for Foley to retire and he continued to wrestle after that. Not only that, but I think this match was better because it was more of a likelihood of Triple H losing this match than losing the Hell in a Cell match. Sometimes you gotta weigh the odds and say, I knew Triple H was going to win that Hell in a Cell match, so why I didn't watch it until I got back into wrestling. And plus, Foley was still wrestling when I came back into it. So I was like, I certainly didn't think he won the belt because I knew WrestleMania, it didn't happen. But that's just, That tells me also that Vince Russo was probably still there. They didn't respect the what they had said anyway, and not like Vince does anyway, but still. Top Dog says sometimes those guys have history with each other, could get very stale. Cena and Orton is a prime example. Well, it only gets stale if you overdo it. You got to give it a break. Like the thing with the Triple H and Cactus Jack thing is they gave it some time. They would feud off and on. Undertaker and Mankind feuded off and on for years. I hate that Foley's last match wasn't against Undertaker though. I think it would have been so much better. I hate that he went to TNA and started having matches. I mean, yes, we got to see him wrestle Kurt Angle. I just watched that on TV, on YouTube rather, a couple of days ago, and we got to see him wrestle Sting, and a legitimate pay-per-view main eventer where Foley is considered a main event guy. But I would have liked for Foley's last match to be Undertaker, and that would have been so poetic. Mongo, please end the debate. Enzo or MJF on the microphone? Well, this is similar to Stone Cold and The Rock. What are you trying to get over? Enzo can just cut stream of consciousness, entertaining promos, but MJF can do that, and he can do those functional storytelling promos in terms of having the ability to actually act. Enzo has never been put in a dramatic situation where he had to carry something. Like when he was the cruiserweight champion, all he had to really do was mock the cruiserweight division. Like MJF having to play a range of emotions, I think gives him an edge in a promo. Oh, look at Triple H's leg, for Christ's sake. I think he said that happened on those pallets outside the ring. But I guess it depends. Yeah, go back to Enzo and MJF. It depends on what you want. If you're building a roster and you want to push one of the guys as the top guy, you would go with MJF. If you just need a guy on the roster to cut a fun promo, I guess Enzo. He doesn't have to do the silly sports team stuff. Smack Talker Skywalker. He's fun. But I don't think that he can. I think that he can make people interested who's already watching. Do I think he can draw people to watching who don't want to see wrestling or whatever? No, I think that's more MJF's thing. But it depends on what you're looking for from a promo. Could they make Grayson Waller a modern day Edge? I don't think he has the size or the physique to really get over being a modern day Edge, because Edge I think is taller than he is, and is certainly more cut because Edge was not scared of steroids. But we have with Grayson Waller a great talent who has charisma, and in the right situation can be a top guy. It's just all about how they choose to use him. So with Toxic Attraction, Tiffany Stratton, Cora Jade, etc., Kiana James, we consider the hot girls the Jocks date. Well, Tiffany Stratton would definitely be. Tiffany Stratton would be the kind of girl who was only interested in the Jocks, wouldn't be interested at all in the other guys. Kiana James is more manipulative, whereas she's clearly just playing games with this fucking Brooks Jensen kid. She's just using him to get an advantage. Toxic Attraction is probably the kind of girls that all these dudes want to fuck, but they probably wouldn't. And Cora Jade's, she's a little on the borderline, where I think she has those girl next door good looks, but she's not as hot as Toxic Attraction, nor as upscale as Tiffany Stratton, and not as manipulative as Kiana James. So she's kind of like right in the middle, where she's kind of like the girl you might invite to your comic book store or something like that, and she might call you a dork, but in a loving, fun way. Lorenzo Grange says, "I have a question. Do you WWE is building up Nikita Lyons? I think it's stupid having Zoe Stark be best in Nikita Lyons. Stupid decisions. I hope WWE is building up Nikita Lyons as a sympathetic character. Well, they're not doing anything to get her any sympathy. She continues to look like a fucking goof every week. So she's not doing anything. See, look at this. He just hit him in one leg with the barbed wire based 4x4. Why would you do such a thing unless you're trying to work the leg? Why would you try to work the leg in this match? Um, Brian and Cora, what do you think of that? Well, what do you mean what I think of it? Like them being an on-screen pair and off-screen pair. I think off-screen, I mean, it is what it is, you know. But on-screen, I don't know if the characters fit. Um, he'll have to put on a black jacket, you know. Then it'd be like the Black Jacket Brigade all over again. Hey, what do we do to turn him heel? Put him in a black jacket. That's always a surefire way to let everybody know you're a heel. Handcuffs. Oh, Lord. Literally the worst thing ever. Didn't Cactus Jack get his brain twisted with handcuffs just like a year or two before this? Oh, he's using the handcuffs as a weapon now. That was smart. See how he took 2 punches and took a bump? He's selling the handcuffs. He took 45 fucking punches to the head before taking a bump before. And he took 2 from the handcuffs and took a bump. And it led to that little kick in the knee. That was nice. Now Foley is handcuffed. You've taken away part of the weapon of the big bad bully. Unprotected punch to the head. I like how he's throwing, like, putting some emphasis on them, and he's coming down with them. The punches look legit, right? He's even got blood on his hands. I'm pretty sure it's his own blood, but he got blood on his hands. Like, Triple H is so much better than people give him credit for. I wasn't a big fan of Triple H, but going back watching him, especially with today, as people try to do, Triple H is one of those guys that people try to do his shit now, and I don't understand. It's confusing to some people. It's not that confusing to me because he was kind of the top guy for a long time. But as people go back to do Triple H's shit, you realize how he was really good at it. Because he ain't doing nothing but Harley Race's shit. He was doing a poor imitation of that. You almost always do a poor imitation of other people's shit instead of doing your own. That drop toe hold was clearly probably inspired by Raven. I've never been a big fan of the idea of guys fighting with the handcuffs. It makes you look so stupid and weak. Let's see. Yeah, Royal Rumble 99 against The Rock. He got handcuffed and got his brain blasted. 2 years in a row, he gets title shots at Royal Rumble. He's the kind of guy who you would do that to, though. You know, top dog. They should have Kiana James be more sexual. They should go a little bit sunny with her. I don't think it really fits the gimmick. They need to keep it within gimmick, I think, when it comes to her and the sexiness. There's just so many girls on the roster who are already doing like the bikini stuff, and girls just want to have fun stuff. Having sort of a stick in the mud. Ooh, he broke the chair. Good Lord. Having her in that position is very creative, actually. Alvin Everett. I wish WWE sponsors would give them more free range for storylines and matches. And you know, they tried that already. Then this is what you got. You got Mae Young pulling her titties out on in front of 20,000 people. They're not gonna. They definitely want the reins on WWE. They definitely want the reins on them. I don't think they would do it now anyway. Even if the sponsors would got out of the way, I don't think they still wouldn't do it because they've become a children's brand over the last several years. I mean, it's just a random taxi cab up there, though. Like, that's part of the set. It's like a taxi cab up there. Who put that there? Who designed this thing? I really would like for somebody to come out and say they used to design the sets. They used to do a documentary with all the people who used to design these sets. Foley's always bleeding from the mouth, by the way. His gums are always bleeding and shit. And one thing, The Rock out of nowhere with a chair for almost no apparent reason. Yeah, I think that Vince Russo is still there. The run-ins for nothing. Something tells me that Vince Russo might. His influence is there at least. Maybe Ed Ferrara is still there. Because I know that Vince Russo was gone, but Ferrara came in later. So was Ferrara there still? I like this guy. The fake bricks too, the graffiti on the walls, the cab, the spray paint and everything. It's such a cool looking design for the set. It looks great. Alto Johnson says Triple H is not much of a work rate guy, but he understands it. Right. He knows the work rate shit because he grew up watching it. But as far as doing it, he came up in a different era where that shit wasn't going to work. And he modified his style. And people still call him boring because he did like doing the work rate stuff. But he modified the stuff that he learned from Ric Flair and Harry and Harley Race to better suit a modern audience, which is what makes the Triple H style work. But he basically got to a point where he basically just started doing Harley Race for most of it. I think it was what was that, maybe 05, 06. He basically just decided he was going to do Harley Race from that point on. But then he started doing kind of his own shit a little bit later. Yeah, I don't think anybody liked that Mick Foley TNA stuff. Didn't really work out either. I think he just took a bunch of unnecessary bumps. To me, it's just a waste of bumps. That was a really bad time for TNA, for Foley as an individual. He was a TNA champion for some fucking reason. Because TNA was desperate. They got real desperate. But to put the belt on a broke down old Foley, who was only really showed up to be an on-screen character. Oh, here we go with the dumb tax. The dumb tax, Jesus Christ. TN Pyro, did y'all see that TK said AEW about to get a new set next year? Yeah, I heard about that. They hired that guy who's going to change like some of the production of the TV. They need to fix the fucking audio. Don't worry about building sets, trons and shit. Fix your fucking audio. Your audio sucks. And to format your show better. The formatting and the audio could help quite a bit. Here come Foley. And body drop onto the thumbtacks. And then he got to roll over in him. Hey, look at Stephanie. It's young Stephanie. Stephanie would have been in her early 20s at this point because she's still pretty young. She's only like 43 or 44 or something like that. So she would have been like 22 or something here. Ooh, pedigree. Nice use of kicking out of the finish. Great sell by Triple H. Look at, again, physically, Triple H is selling. Look at Earl Hebner is giving him what for. Earl Hebner was a little too strong of a referee sometimes he was too strong. Pedigree on the thumbtacks. Now that's the fucking finish. Man, call it a day. And he's got this shit in his face, for Christ's sake. Stephanie looked just like Vince. Fuck. God damn. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be a New York City. That's what New York is known for. It's the taxi cabs. It's also known for the graffiti on the trains and stuff like that. But why did you put it up there? Like, why is it above the fucking entranceway? Like, why is it up there? Of all the places to put a New York City taxi cab, why did you put it above where the guys have to come out? Why is it up there? Somebody has to explain to me why the cab is up there. I don't know. You could have put the cab anywhere in the fucking building. You put it above the entranceway. Why? Explain why. Triple H, Alto John said Triple H was largely on the boring side after tearing his quad and trying to be like some Ric Flair, Harley Race ring general. His work suffered. His promos were, for the most part, long and droning. Yeah, the promos are the worst thing about it. Because he really would come out there and have nothing to say, really, and just hold the show hostage. But yeah, after he tore his quad, he definitely changed his style up and tried to become more of a work rate guy. But it was a different era, and it wasn't as well received as it probably should have been. considering Triple H was really good at it. He still had some really good matches, but he wasn't as athletic as he would have been a couple of years prior. I just want somebody to explain to me why on earth they had a taxi cab up there. And it makes no fucking sense. I get it. New York is known for the taxi cabs, but why is it up there? And the WWF door, it looked like a garage door. That's actually pretty neat too. Foley losing, but still standing. Triple H won, but it's on a fucking stretcher. Foley brings him back to the ring. This is the fun stuff right here. Look at all the thumbtacks in the boot, for Christ's sake. Match is over, but the babyface has to. He can't go out bad, so he hit him with the goddamn 2x4, and then put it on his chest. Again, WWF does so much better than everybody else. Look how Stephanie is selling what's happening here. She's not just watching it. Look how Foley is looking at her. It's all drama. There's a lot of tension there. In the fear that Stephanie has of Foley and how he's looking at her like she could possibly be next, and she's backing up. And Sergeant Slaughter is right there to make sure nothing's going to happen, but she's backing up like, no, wide-eyed. That's the stuff that you watch wrestling for. You know, that's the little stuff. And Triple H is fucked in this ring. Sergeant Slaughter, for Christ's sake. He had his problems with Triple H too. I don't know if they're going to mention that or not, but well, DX making fun of him all the time. Jerry Lawler is wearing a jacket with no shirt. He in his sexy era. Alvin Everett, do you think WWE needs a new set? I hate the large LED Tron and getting rid of the superstar package Videotrons. See, that latter one is really what fucks with me because I want to know why. You know, like, why would you get rid of the Titantrons with the individualized highlights and everything? That shit was fucking great. It was great. I wish they would stop showing Times Square, for Christ's sake. Everything in New York is all about the lights, bro. WWF New York. I wish people would tell the truth about WWF New York and that they didn't start it, but they ended up taking it over and it bombed. It was some other guy who started this goddamn WWF New York thing. Hey, it's Linda McMahon. She's old.
Shane, our feeling about the whole McMahon house layer, more specifically, the actions of your daughter the last couple of months.
Jonathan, I can't really speak for Stephanie. I just can't have any comment about that. But let me tell you, I'm the CEO of the World Wrestling Federation, and even though Triple H is still champion, you can rest assured that things in the World Wrestling Federation are going to be handled the McMahon way.
Well, right now,
Linda McMahon is a grandma, and she looks like a grandma here. Like, she wasn't, I don't think Shane had kids yet. He was only like 26. I don't think he had kids yet. But Linda looks like a grandma. Vince didn't look like nobody's granddaddy, but Linda looks like somebody's grandma. So maybe that's why things didn't work out between the two of them. Vince wanted to be the genetic jackhammer that didn't start looking old until a couple of years ago. But Linda been old since 2000. So, goddamn. Did I watch the World Cup? Not 1 second. I don't like soccer. I really don't even like sports. I watch football because it's on TV. I don't watch basketball much at all. I heard a lot about the World Cup, but I didn't watch any of it. Why did Linda never show back up? Because she quit to go be political, so she didn't come back. And she knew that all the crazy stuff Vince had done and would do with the WWE, and it would come back and bite her in the ass when she decided to go do her political career, so she kind of gave it up. Plus, I think she did everything she could do. You know, she had been running the WWF since the 80s. You know, what the fuck? 20 years of that shit, enough. Enough's enough. You know, like we want to go do other things, have other interests. James Earl Cash. I used to frequent the WWF New York back in the day to drink. I met and saw quite a few wrestlers there. Well, that's interesting. I would, if I was going to write a wrestling book, it would be on shit like that. Did you ever go to WWF New York? What did you think of the place personally? Those kinds of things. Where you could contact with other fans and get a sense of how it was. Hey, it's Howard Finkel. I love Howard Finkel. I don't want to play any music though. They're showing highlights of the '95 Rumble, which is one of the worst ones ever. 2015 is probably still the worst Royal Rumble of all time, but '95 is probably not far behind. They rushed the entire match. It was a great finish, no doubt, but the match was rushed. It was like 10 minutes. It certainly wasn't 10 minutes. It was probably 20 when it could have been longer. Why is this white boy wrestling in a do-rag and a white tee? Good question. Good question. Oh, God. D'Lo Brown is number one. Well, great for you, D'Lo. You're number one in something. Look at how D'Lo just jerks his body around. He has no respect for his body whatsoever. You can tell that he's acting. But at least he got exaggerated movements. He doesn't come across like a normal person. He moves in an abnormal way, which might make him interesting and stand out to the person who's watching this for the first time. And here's the Grandmaster Sexay. Good Lord. I can't believe Jerry Lawler let his son do this. And I love how they keep putting the camera on King. He keeps denying that this guy's his son. It was so funny. Like, I knew that Grandmaster Sexay was Jerry the King Lawler's son because I had watched USWA. So I already knew that he was his son. The thing was, they denied it so vociferously on this show that I honestly started saying, maybe he's not. Like, I was just kind of like, maybe he's not, but he clearly is. He even looks like him if you pay attention. He even looks like him. Alvin Everett just came into my mind after your video of you saying, let's do something with someone we have. And Xia Li. Monday, they bring in Bronson Reed to help the Miz. Exactly. They have so many people on the roster that they didn't do anything with. Why the fuck did they use Bronson Reed for that? They could have definitely done a vignette or something to bring him in a different way. See, look at this shit. He can barely powerbomb this fucking cruiserweight. But I think that was probably Grandmaster Sexay's fault. Well, I'm sorry, Brian's. Hey, Brian Lawler is dead. That's unfortunate. Watching old events, I just have to note that people are dead. He's small, too. He's a little guy. Grandmaster was over. He was more over than half the current roster. Well, yeah. But I think people just like the gimmick as much, I don't think the guy himself is like super over. I just think that, people like the gimmick at the time. I recognized him as Grandmaster Sexay. When they denied it so much, I was just kind of, I felt gaslit. I was like, maybe he's not. What the fuck is this guy wearing? Is that Mosh or Thrasher? Oh, that's Mosh. Okay. See, that's the kind of stuff I don't recognize from the Attitude Era. He's wearing titties on his chest. Like, why? And he's wearing like rainbow stuff. Oh, here's Kaientai. I remember this now. Sho Funaki and Taka Michinoku. Oh, Funaki, your boring tights. Oh boy. D'Lo was underrated as hell. I agree. D'Lo, I think, went as far as he was going to go, though. I don't think he's ever going to be world champion. I just wish he would have got a longer, more establishing run as the Intercontinental champion or something. I think he went as far as he was going to go. He was Eurocontinental champion. He was European Intercontinental champion at the same time. I just don't think he was respected enough in that role. But that was the Attitude Era. We put the belt on guys, and you never know who it's going to be or how long he was going to have it. But D'Lo was one of the few guys where when he got the belt, he was like, "Yeah, this feels right. It feels right." Especially when he was feeling like X-Pac and stuff. It was fun. That was a good time. I wish they had done more with those guys. But his stock plummeted, of course, after he entered Draws. Batman 901. What is the John Cena push? Because people are saying WWE is booking Bianca Belair like Super Cena. All that means is that she wins all the time. That's really all it means. I mean, she can withstand great deals of punishment, and she wins all the time. Basically, she's the main character. She got plot armor. And that's really all Super Cena push is, Super Hogan push. Is that stuff that would usually beat most people don't beat you. Because, you have hidden powers that other people don't have, at least temporarily. Then magically those powers go away, you get beat by like running knees to the face and stuff like that. That's exactly what happened to John Cena, by the way. John Cena, you can throw him on top of a building, run him over with a tractor, you can't beat him. Then some midget runs and bangs his knee into his face, and all of a sudden he gets pinned. Like, what? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I don't want to know what's going on with the man titties. And it didn't last very long, but that's 100% 2000s. I was watching too much MTV back then, so it probably didn't weird me out as much as it did then as it does now. Hey, remember when Jerry Lawler got them mixed up for being Chinese instead of Japanese? I don't think he cared enough. That's the weird thing is I don't think he cared enough to be racist either. I just don't think he gave a shit. The cab driver slam. Ah, yes, and somebody else who watches Marky D 123. That's what he calls a spine buster. Christian Cage is out here. Yeah, Bianca should be able to beat most people because she is jacked. She should be able to beat most people by herself. And most of the girls, their offense has weak, so she should be able to beat most of them. I mean, she should never get pinned by like the Oblivion. Like, fuck, are you serious? Maybe the Riptide should probably be able to beat her though. And we need to go back to doing that kind of stuff. Hey, Mosh is out. That was a good belly-to-belly suplex. That was pretty good. He did it in stages, though. The original, well, not the original Oos, but the new generation Oos. What is my favorite DX? Well, the Triple H China and HBK. It got watered down as hell after that. Daddy Oos. I hated his finisher though. Like, I don't like this move because there's no way. For starters, he did it away from the hard camera because it's pretty obvious that he doesn't actually let their head hit the mat. He got too much thigh and ass for that to happen. But him cleaning the ring, pretty crazy stuff right there, brother. The random Rikishi pushes. That's another thing that the Attitude Era was known for. Just random times when Rikishi was a top guy all of a sudden. He couldn't be stopped. Why? I never understood how Scotty 2 Hotty is even wearing this hat. Somebody clearly cut the top of the hat so that he could put his hair through it. And he's wearing a jean jacket. This is 100% a mess. Everything about this is absolutely 2000s as fuck, though. The hip hop influence, but it's over the top. It's hard to explain to anybody who wasn't there what's happening here. why Rikishi is having so much fun dancing with these white boys. You know, Scott Taylor was a jobber in WWF forever, and all of a sudden, he's in one of the most overpairing. Hell, Fatu was one of the jobbers of the WWF. Then all of a sudden, he was in, one of the most over guys in the company. I like how he was able to do this, throw these guys out, and not turn heel in doing so. The crowd didn't boo him for doing it because he gave him a little something with the dance. he gave him a little something, Gave him a little something. Then he threw him out. Now you're gonna go back to dancing. Get the fuck out of here. The Royal Rumble, if the Royal Rumble has not been interrupted by foolishness, is it really a Royal Rumble? If it's not being completely and totally interrupted with nonsense, what the fuck? This is 2000, so they into some garbage. In the middle of the fucking match, too, bro. Like, they literally like 10 people in, and this fool dancing. They said, good Lord, Christian's song was awful during that time. Oh, man, Christian had a run of bad theme songs before he finally hit one that was any good. Hey, it's Mr. Personality, Steve Blackman, who, Daniel Garcia and all these guys, they absolutely make Steve Blackman look like the most charismatic dude on the planet. It's a very weird timeline where people were big fans of Steve Blackman now. Like, I thought people falling in love with Power and Glory, going back looking at them was strange. But the people who went back and started falling in love with Steve Blackman is really bizarre. I don't understand that one. Power and Glory, at least they have a cool finish. But Steve Blackman, Lord, no. There's nothing about him cool. Nothing about him interesting. That's why he has to go over the top rope, and that's great. That's excellent. See you later, Steve. Sean's not doing shit with Schism right now. What do you see in Joe Gacy and Ava Rain's future? Hard to say, because Joe Gacy's already in his 30s. So he's already like 33 or something like that. So if they don't, put I know Triple H doesn't care. He's pushing like 40-year-old Damian Priest, like 40-year-old Finn Balor, like 40-year-old LA Knight. So he don't really care. He probably thinks that Joe Gacy's a young buck. But you got this guy. Yeah, people actually like Steve Blackman now for some reason. But people, Joe Gacy needs to, I don't know. I think he seems like might be a guy who might get over a little bit more on the main roster than in NXT. Hey, look, it's Viscera. Big fat guy versus big fat guy. That's a big motherfucker. Yeah, I was never a fan of this guy. I don't care what you call them. I was never a fan of big trash bag Viscera. I didn't like Mabel. I hated Big Daddy V. That shit was a crime against humanity. What's the name too? The world's largest love machine. Oh, that shit almost made me turn wrestling off again. I was like, oh my god, I have to watch this motherfucker one more time. Him trying to seduce Trish Stratus. I was like, fuck you. That shit made me want to die. It literally made me want to put a butter knife in my own chest. It was awful, bro. And he was another guy that Vince just wouldn't give up on. He just would never give up on Viscera. Never. He just kept coming back to him. Every couple of years, he would be like, he's still big, goddammit. He's still a big motherfucker, pal. Even when he was coked out in the 90s. Yeah. R.I.P. to Viscera, R.I.P. to Big Vis, for sure. James Rose Cash has joined us. He found the Royal Rumble on YouTube. Nice. That was a nice little thing for Rikishi right there. You could tell they were trying to make him a top guy. It just wasn't going to work. He's just upper mid card at best. He was never going to be a top guy. Ah, the Big Boss Man. You know, the Big Boss Man wasn't even that old at this point. R.I.P. to the Big Boss Man. You serving hard times. Serving hard times. He carries a big stick, ball and chain too. That shit is hilarious. I used to love Big Boss Man when I was a kid. But he was so good in this at this point. 99, 2000, Big Boss Man, he was so good. That the worst thing he ever did though was the Undertaker stuff. That's really what kind of pissed me off because Boss Man was very good. He knew what he was doing. He was so young. Like, you should probably listen to Jim Cornette talk about how young he was when he first came to the WWF. He was so young. So that means he's not that old here. It seemed like the Big Boss Man would be old, but he's not. He's got to be like his maybe early 30s here, maybe early to mid 30s. So because he came in to WWE, he's in like 24 or 25 or something. He was a young guy. And it wasn't that long. It was probably about 5 or 6 years that he went to WCW, did like Big Bubba, which was dumb as shit. Alvin Everett says, even though it makes sense for people to do it, I feel like the Kofi spot is overdone. I think them finding ways to force it in there is probably has made it overdone. Speaking of Marky D123, he just did a video on Test and ECW. I think I suggest everybody watch it. I felt bad for Test because this is the Test that I remember, which is basically a knockoff of Kevin Nash. But I always think that he had something. I hate that he put on so much muscle. Like right here, he's perfectly proportioned. He probably was still on steroids, but he's perfectly proportioned here, where his muscle is not weighing his body down. He still has a good range of motion. He can still move. Why Test wasn't the guy that they decided to push, I don't know. You know, I wonder what they had against him. Maybe because he looked so much like Triple H. He looked like a tall Triple H. But they tried to make Rikishi a top guy during his heel run. They tried to make Rikishi a top guy several times. When they did the brand split, they tried to do Rikishi as a top guy then too. It didn't work out that time either. He was the Intercontinental champion feuding with like Val Venus. I think that was later this year. Might have been later in 2000. It just was not going to work. You know, R.I.P. to the man Test. But I like Test. I always thought that he was serious. Boss Man was in his late 30s. Okay. And it still makes sense. He'd probably been 36 or something like that. Not that old. Bulldog. This wasn't a good time for the British Bulldog. R.I.P. to the Bulldog. Wasn't a good time for you, brother. When he was wrestling in them blue jeans, I just kept waiting because I thought, okay, Bulldog finally going to be the man. No Shawn Michaels to get in his way. No Bret or Owen to take his spot from him. And then he came back and he was not the same British Bulldog he was before. I felt awful about it. I couldn't believe they had him come out in fucking suspenders. I'm telling you, WWE don't give a fuck. Wrestling Sucks TV. Private Party should have been in Swerve's faction. You know what? You probably putting more thought into it than Tony Khan did. I don't think Tony Khan put a lick of fucking thought in those things. Yeah, Bulldog in jeans is absolutely disgusting. It sucks. It sucks hard. And who told him that was a good look? Like, you're the British Bulldog. Why are you wearing blue jeans? You look like you should be in a Wrangler commercial. Like, no, you should be the British Bulldog. Be what people remember you being. This is where they kept fucking with the gimmicks. It was so unnecessary. Blue jeans added nothing to his look. In fact, it degraded his look. It's stupid. And then I don't think he was quite fucked up yet here. Like, he was on drugs for years, but I don't think he was quite as fucked up as he would be later this year in 2000. He was a mess later in 2000. Hey, it's Gangrel. He's still alive. Barely. Cool, one of the coolest gimmicks out of the Attitude Era. And it revolved around him spitting blood. Jesus H. Christ. James Earl Cash. I remember hearing that DDP was supposed to run over Stone Cold, but they couldn't get him, so they used Rikishi instead. I heard there was supposed to have been a couple of people to do the whole running over Stone Cold thing. I don't understand why it would be DDP though, because WCW still existed at this point. Oh shit! Taka didn't get his hands up apparently, so now he just ate a bunch of the goddamn floor. Oof. They're about to show that. I saw that one. I saw it this time. They're about to show the replay of that. Poor Taka Michinoku. You shouldn't be small in these matches though. Gangrel rocks on MLW. He still wrestles on there. I haven't seen him for a while, but he must have been like the Battle Riot or something. So I haven't seen a singles match yet. Oh, he probably got CTE from that mat. Somebody save him. Action Andretti looked like Cena 07 last Dynamite. Yeah, if he got hit by one of the turtles and lost his big embiggening mushroom, yeah, it's a mess. Action Andretti. It's Edge. Edge with the highlights though. Good Lord. Young Edge. There's a lot of talented guys in this ring. Only one of them became anything, though. That's unfortunate. Two of them are dead. Well, three of them are dead because Test is dead too. R.I.P. Test. Edge is still alive. Edge is probably going to end up being in the 2022 Royal Rumble. If there is any sort of Jesus God, Gangrel will be in that Royal Rumble too. I think we all have been sitting around waiting for Gangrel to make a return. It needs to happen, bro. Alvin Everett. Would the invasion have been better if WWE was able to get the top names? Well, I think clearly it would have been better. They probably wouldn't even done some of the stupid shit like the alliance. They probably wouldn't even did that if they could have got the top names. Then why you don't need to do the alliance? They did the alliance to try to boost name value. Basically, all they did was bring Rob Van Dam into that shit and waste his time. He still ended up being the most over guy in the whole situation, which probably going to end up happening anyway. But they could have got Stain, Goldberg, and stuff like that. Survivor Series would have been lit that year. I don't understand. I'm still just distracted by the fact that the Bulldogs were wearing blue jeans. It's so dumb. Like, it's like when Ultimate Warriors wearing that hat that one time. Oh my God, it's Bob Backlund. Why is he so pasty on this screen, bro? Like, he is so pasty. I miss Crazy Bob Backlund, though. Even at this time, Edge was still more over than Christian. Yeah, I think the people just generally liked Edge more than Christian. Even when they were doing the team Edge and Christian thing, he was doing like a lot of the talking for the group. He was the front man of the team. Oh, see, that was weak. That's how he got rid of Rikishi. That was kind of weak. They just ganged up on him. Nobody in this match. I mean, when you build up a guy like Rikishi to get and you eliminate him, it should have been somebody who was a top guy who should have tossed him out, not a bunch of mid-carders. Even though it makes sense for like a bunch, like Test should have been able to do it by himself, but you save him for like the Big Show or somebody like that. You don't just throw him out just because. That's kind of silly. But James Earl Cash, I just watched a recent episode of MLW, and Gangrel was in there in that Battle Royal, but I think he rocks there every week. So does Killer Cross. He's been on MLW programming with his wife. MLW taped that shit months ago. So months ago, because Cross been in WWE since what, before Clash at the Castle. So they're just not showing shit that's already been there. But I don't think Gangrel's there anymore. But it's hard to tell. I think he's still freelancing and running around. I think I saw him in OVW too. Hey, it's Chris Jericho, the undisputed Intercontinental Champion. That's a very bad mustache goatee thing he's got going on there. I don't really like it. I love how he just got kicked by Test and didn't sell it. This Royal Rumble is number one for that. You get into the ring, you get kicked, punched, or whatever, and then you just absolutely don't sell it because you didn't see it. Oh, Bob Backlund got eliminated by a drop kick. Son of a bitch. Alvin Everett, do you watch Reliving the War on YouTube, Wrestling Bios? I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you this. I don't watch anything that has anything to do with Raw and Nitro. If it has Raw and Nitro in it, I do not care. I'm so tired of reliving the war. It's over. That shit is like, listening to old men talk about Vietnam or something. It's like, bro, we get it. You're like in your 30s, and that was the favorite time of you being a wrestling fan. I'm over it, bro. I don't give a fuck. There's nothing you can tell me about Raw and Nitro that I don't know before, and that would change my enjoyment of either one of them. There's literally no more to be said. Like, there's been books written, there's been documentaries made. What more can you fucking talk about when it comes to Raw versus Nitro? There's no more to discuss. It's over. I refuse to rehash that shit. That's why, I really try to avoid talking about the Attitude Era in general on this channel. Because, I don't think I could add anything. For fuck's sake, everybody's talking about it. Jericho's mustache is awful, by the way. It's the shits. R.I.P. Crash Holly. He's also passed away. He's very small. He's a small man. Bulldog is very ineffective in this match. He's not effectively able to move anybody around. And Edge is spanking Crash. Bossman has done nothing in this match. He's just hugging the corners at this point. Yeah, people talk about the Attitude Era all day, every day, bro. It's exhausting, if we're being honest. I just get exhausted with the fucking Attitude Era content that floats around. That's why I like Marky D. He talks about fucking TNA, It makes me want to go back and watch TNA. Nothing that you're going to talk about on a wrestling bio when it comes to Attitude Era makes me want to go back and watch it. It's all just like the same shit. Everybody likes the same stuff from the same people, ignoring all of the same problems. I hate this. I hate it so much. Who would you want to see in WWE more between FTR or Miro? Well, Miro, clearly, because we need more top guys, and Rusev is at least was on the cusp of becoming a top guy. FTR is a fucking tag team. They're never going to be top guys. Not in WWE anyway. WWE doesn't push tag teams as top guys anymore. I think it would be nice if the Usos was able to main event at WrestleMania as a tag team. Just to say that they did it. I don't know what the kind of match it would have to be. It would have to be like a loser disband match like the New Day or something like that. But it would be nice if the Usos could be like the first team to main event WrestleMania. I just don't know how they would go about doing it. China in the Royal Rumble. And then she tried to eliminate Chris Jericho. And she looks like a fool. Alvin Everett, if you had to build a wrestling company using today's wrestlers without the Bloodline or MJF, who would you pick first? Oh, wait, she did eliminate Jericho. Holy shit. And then she got eliminated by the Big Boss Man. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Who would I pick first? That's a good question because there's a lot of guys out there. But I would probably go younger because that's something that only AEW is trying to do that. So you would look at like a Braun Breaker or an Austin Theory. Richard Holiday, he's sick now. Hammerstone, I'm not sure how old Hammerstone is. He's got to be 30 now. But I would look at guys like that, guys that people have never seen before, but they have familiar body types, they have familiar style. Farouk, Top Dog said that's why probably why some people hate the attitude era. It's shoved down people's throats. Yeah, like if you play a song on the radio all day, there's gonna be people who are gonna be like, I love that song, and there's gonna be people who are like, I hate that song. They play it all day. It's the same thing with me. Like I watch the Attitude Era, I'm like, oh man, this stuff was kind of interesting and entertaining. But when you sit back and listen to people gush about it on YouTube or a podcast, you're like, come on, bro. You guys are ignoring all the median and viscera shit. Like this event was great. This event was fantastic because there was no filler. You had Taz's debut, the tables match, the tag team title match was kind of whack, but whatever. Then you had the street fight, which was tremendous. And then you had this match. So the Intercontinental Championship match was okay. I'm shifting in my chair now, man. Your show's going a little long. Yeah, China is still in this joint. Yeah, unfortunately, the main events have to be a woman or a main title for night one. It doesn't have to be. They could do a special feud for night one. If they wanted to do like a big money feud, but I don't know, like who would that entail? Would that be Rock? Would that be, what kind of match would it be? But you could do a big drawing match for WrestleMania Night 1. China's offense is shit. I think we've established that from earlier. She wasn't very good then, so I doubt she got better in like an hour. Hammerstone resembles Shane Douglas to me. It's interesting you would say that because I don't think so. Black saying 97. Farouk was so underrated. In my opinion, he could have been a world champ during his Nation of Domination run. Well, they teased it. They had him wrestle Undertaker for the title. He didn't win, of course. But I think he ended up taking Ahmed Johnson's spot. It was a ridiculous story that Ahmed Johnson was supposed to win the title, and then he got injured. And so they switched it to Farouk, and then Farouk lost. It sounds ridiculous to me because I don't think they ever would have put Ahmed Johnson over as a heel. Babyface, yes, because he was super over as a babyface, but as a heel, I don't think so. Top Dog says, I wish the Hogan era got more love. I think after the Attitude Era, it gets the most, because people remember the Mega Powers, the Mega Maniacs. People remember all that kind of stuff as, Jake Snake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat, the Demolition, Power and Glory. Like all that stuff really gets respected. The people that don't really get respected is the New Generation era, because that's when Mantar and Aldo Montoya and all that shit was happening. Oh, Bulldog is, for starters, he got his jeans tucked into his socks, so I'm glad he got eliminated. He's like a bum. Go get yourself together, Bulldog, even though I know you never did. Right? So sorry to see that. And look, it's Al Snow. No head. He's just Al Snow. That sucks. He says the Ruthless Aggression era gets love after the Attitude. I don't know, man. I don't know if the Ruthless Aggression era has surpassed the Hogan era and love yet. I don't think so. I think people look at the Ruthless Aggression era sort of like the bastard child of the Attitude Era. So a lot of the stuff that happened, like the lesbians, that kind of 3-minute warning, that kind of shit. It's just an extension of the Attitude Era. But the 80s WWF, like I pretty much every day see somebody posting a video of Vince doing like the rundown to the Royal Rumble. And that would be like the 91 Rumble or 90 Rumble or something like that. And I'm telling you, the energy is crazy. Same thing for WrestleMania every year when Vince used to do those, the cold opens. But that Ruthless Aggression era, yeah, you still get a lot of love for them too. Val Venus is a guy who probably should have been a bigger star than than he became, but he was limited by the gimmick. There's not much you can do with a porn star gimmick. Hey, look, it's Sho Funaki. He's back, and he got thrown out again. I respect that Sho Funaki is a man of color. He's very brown. Yeah, 3-minute warning was not good. A lot of that stuff during the initial stages of the brand split wasn't very good. It wasn't very good at all. I hate that both of those guys ended up dying. That sucks. That's the real sad thing. Is a lot of guys from the Ruthless Aggression era are dead today. It's real sad when you see that, because that shit wasn't that long ago. That shit's about 15 years ago, thereabouts. Alvin Everett said, I heard that the first episode of Saturday Night's Main Event got around 30 million views. No, I don't think so. Because Hogan and Andre is the most viewed wrestling match in the history of television, and they got about 15 million views. Yeah, I think it got about 15 million. I'll have to look it up, but I don't think Saturday Night's Main Event got 30 million. That's crazy. That's like Super Bowl numbers. Albert, one of the worst gimmicks ever perpetrated upon the American public. Don't understand why it existed. Don't understand what it was supposed to be. Matt Bloom sucks. He's boring as shit. And you could just look at the guy. I could tell that nothing he was going to do was going to get over. And he's hairy as all hell. That shit is gross. Look at this guy. His gimmick was that he had piercings in his lip. That was his gimmick, and he was hairy. He got people to chant "shave your back." And then he went over to Japan, became I'm big in Japan, Giant Bernard. Came back and did Lord Tensai, which ended up being even more hilarious because he ended up getting humiliated as Lord Tensai. And I don't even know why that happened. I just remember him and Sheamus beating each other to death at one point. And then the next week, Lord Tensai was doing stupid comedy stuff. Top Dog said the fans of the Attitude Era are pretty much the older guys now. That's why it's talked about every hour of the day. Well, the people from the Hogan era are older too. They're even older than the Attitude Era fans. They're talking about late 30s, early 40s. Those guys. Hell, some of them are in their 50s. Edge getting eliminated by mid-carders. Well, hate to break it to you, but Edge was a mid-carder. Matt Bloom snitched on Mandy Rose and told Shawn. Well, he was going to find out anyway. As a coach, this is his job. I'm pretty sure he told her about her playing with her pussy online. That probably was what did it. Christian Shawn Michaels, he said, look, you got 3 choices. Holy water, the exorcism, or losing your job. And she was like, you know what, honey? I'm going to take my leave. And that was probably about it. Black saying he says crazy because Albert beat John Cena one time. Ugh. See, they do weird shit. A-Train, I think, was the Intercontinental Champion at one point, wasn't he? Yeah, I think he was. I think he was the Intercontinental Champion. It was a very short run, if I remember correctly. And he went through this. He was another guy like Viscera, like Rikishi, where they kept bringing him back, trying to make him something. Like this Prince Albert thing, of course, did not work. Then they tried the tag team thing with him and Test. That didn't work. Then they tried A-Train. That was probably his biggest singles push until he did Lord Tensai. And none of that shit worked. He's just a fucking bum. He probably definitely better fit to train people than to be in the ring himself. He's a bum. Wrestling Sucks TV. You seen the interview when Jade Cargill said she was the only black champion. And who's your favorite black wrestler? Mine is Booker T. Well, I got a soft spot for Shelton Benjamin. I really do. I like Bianca Belair now. She probably would be the top of my list right now. I don't understand why she would be the only. She's the only black champion in AEW. Maybe she's certainly not the only black champion. WWE has 3 black champions: you have New Day and Bianca. So I don't know where she got that from. Oh, and I think Kaden Carter is kind of black. I think she's mixed, if I remember correct. I think she's from the Philippines or something like that, right? Somebody's going to correct me on that, but I think she's mixed. Thoughts on Attitude Era fanboys? Well, they live in the past. A lot of them do, and I can't do that. I'm going to make everything fun. Like, I've been watching wrestling for a long, long time, and I of course have my favorites. Nothing to me will be as good as the Hogan era, you know, where it was treated like a sport, but it also had that crazy, zany Vince McMahon element to it. But it wasn't so over the top that as it would become in the New Generation era, where there was Mantar and Bastion Booger and Sparky Plug and that kind of stuff. Like, you didn't have that garbage, but you had guys getting bit by snakes. You had the Ultimate Warrior, you had Voodoo and shit, so it was okay. Yeah, Athena did just win the ROH Women's title, but you know her husband's King of the Black Women or something like that. So, Alvin Everett, what is the worst year in WWE history? It's 1995. Without a shadow of a doubt, nothing was good in 95. WrestleMania sucked. SummerSlam sucked. SummerSlam was really, really bad. The Royal Rumble sucked. There was no real pay-per-views. They think they started the In Your House series then. I think Hitman Bulldog was the December In Your House, which I probably should have put it on the list. I kind of want to watch that. Survivor Series 95 wasn't all that good either. But at least it had the Hitman Diesel match, so it had something going for it. Yeah, Daddy Ass is here. The Rock is out there too. He's just eliminating bums, as he should. Get these bums out of here. Top Dog, am I the only one that finds Harlem Heat, the Outsiders, and the Sliders more cool than badass than Edge, Christian, and Hart Dudleys and Hardy Boys? Well, no, because I loved Harlem Heat as a kid. I thought they were great. I could tell them niggas weren't from New York, but I could tell they were great. I listened to enough rappers to know that Harlem Heat was not from New York. But I loved Harlem Heat, and I loved the Steiner Brothers too. I liked them, of course, when they was in WWF. But no, it was a different climate. The Outsiders had everything. No, they had charisma, they had work rate, they could do everything. They were excellent. Same thing with the Steiners. Steiners could do everything. Harlem Heat was just like one of the best tag teams ever put together, though. It was so good. Oh, it's the shit show. I hate this guy so fucking much. Oh, there ain't enough time in the day for me to talk about how bad I hate the Big Show. I was hoping that cab was just fall on his motherfucker. I hope it just fall on his foot and stop him from getting in the ring. Even though I know that's not going to happen. He's wrestling in a t-shirt, guys. For the record, the Big Show is like in his late 20s at this point, and he's wrestling in a t-shirt. He sucks. He sucks so bad. He's big for no reason. He's a waste of space. That big headbutt that he just did on Val Venus was awful. Al Snow sold the shit out of it, though. He knew his job was on the line. Oh, I didn't even see Test get eliminated, so that just goes to show they don't care about him. That is Bob Holly. You're right. TN Pyro. Can you imagine if Big Show actually won this Rumble? I thought they technically went back and said that Big Show won the Royal Rumble. That's what I thought. That's what I remember. But I don't know if that was a storyline or not. It seems like that's just storyline stuff. Because they haven't changed it in the record books who won this fucking match. So it must have been kayfabe that they said Big Show won. The Mean Street Posse. What the fuck? That guy don't even know how to fall. Ooh. Kids in the PG era getting attacked by older fans online for being fans of the Super Cena, and the PG era thoughts on that. And did you know of that? Well, I'm not surprised. You know, a lot of the Cena fans are adults now because Cena's been around for so long. If you were 4 or 5 years old, you're 14, 15 today. If you were a little bit older, maybe you're 10 or 11, you're 21 or 22 today. There's people out here who, again, been wrestling fans their whole entire life, 30 years or something like that. And on Twitter, you think everybody's into the same thing, but they're into pro wrestling. You're into just WWE history. You collect the action figures. They're out here trying to get the Utah Regional Championship heavyweight universal title or some shit. But that's just a big piece of leather with like a license plate on it. You know, like you guys are not the same, you know. Did you like the Triple H and Stephanie marriage angle and Vince was the babyface? I think that it was useful for Stephanie as a character who had been taken advantage of, and now she was going to get her revenge. I think maybe it went on too long, you know, in terms of they started dominating the show. Like in 2001, that it just became the McMahon Helmsley era. That shit went on too long, man. Here's Kane. You know, somebody who should be a legitimate threat, who for some reason isn't. Oh no. See, a guy like Kane should eliminate a guy like that. Who's a better heel, Grayson Waller or Sammy Guevara? Well, Grayson Waller actually gets heat, and people don't like him, but they don't hate him like they hate Sammy Guevara. And I think a lot of that hate for Sammy Guevara is just kind of like fuck Sammy Guevara, not necessarily heel heat, but mostly kind of like we don't rock with Sammy Guevara at all kind of heat, which, you know, doesn't really make that much of a difference to him. But for some reason, the fans don't like him. The Rock said Big Show won in a storyline in 2016. Oh, I thought they went back and changed the history or some shit like that. Because I'm pretty sure that was part of the storyline going into the WrestleMania. That's what I thought, that Big Show didn't really lose, so they weren't going to give Rock a one-on-one match. I thought that's what it was, but maybe, I don't know. It's the Godfather. Stereotyping ass. Waller gets heel heat. Sammy gets go away heat. What the real go away heat is that Sammy Guevara matches don't draw. That's the real go away heat. You talk about go away heat when people are not watching your spots on the show. That's the real go away heat, brother. That's real go away heat, brother. The Godfather's just gonna parade around the ring with his hoe. Funaki want this more than anything, bro. He got that dog in him. He want this shit more than anything. At some point, brother, I would have been like, man, you end the match. It's 31 people. You got that dog in you. You really want to be in this. They should give Grayson Waller a hot woman. Yeah, I definitely think he needs to have a woman with him. Like he's the kind of wrestler who could work with an entourage. A heavy on one side and a hot chick on the other. And you know, the heavy kind of watches both of their backs. That works for me, you know, but they'll never do it because WWE doesn't care about manager. In 2016 segment, The Rock said the Big Show was supposed to play the Scorpion King if either one of them won the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I don't know about that one. That sounds like The Rock giving the Big Show a big ass rub. Oh, it's X-Pac. Hey, I just can't believe how skinny that guy is. That's a skinny guy, man. I think he's one of the most underrated guys too. X-Pac, 1, 2, 3 Kid. he was never going to be a top guy, like a main event guy. That was never going to happen for him. But a long-term Intercontinental champion or something like that, that definitely should have been in the cards. It's just the wrong era. Just the wrong era. Somebody said they had Big Show replay it, and that's the reason he was added to the Fatal 4-Way. Yeah, I figured that's what it was. I knew it was something to do with the screwy finish to this match. Godfather gimmick had no reason to be that good. It was so much fun that you knew it wasn't going to last forever. You knew it wasn't going to last. It was too much fun. X-Pac at 30. He was 30 here? Damn. Oh, so I mean he was super young when he first became 1, 2, 3 Kid. Oh, Billy eliminated Road Dogg. Jesus H. X-Pac was number 30, if I'm sure. I'm sure of that. So this is the final 5. That was weak. He just up-chucked him 4 times until he got eliminated. I heard rumors, Top Dog says, I heard rumors that Shawn was going to return to the Attitude Era. There's no way. I'm telling you, they're not going to return to the Attitude Era, and there is no conversation of saying. They may push some envelopes, but there's no way they're going to go back to the Attitude Era. They're doing a Royal Rumble 96 finish here. X-Pac took a hell of a bump. If you look at that bump, he didn't protect himself at all. He took that bump straight up. I'm surprised he didn't tear his own asshole at that point. Wrestling Sucks TV. How you feel about Omos with Grayson Waller as a manager and MVP bring back? I don't like that Omos Grayson Waller thing. It seems weird. Omos has already done the whole bodyguard thing already. He's already done that. It's time for somebody else. I think maybe an Odyssey Jones or something like that it might work for. Hank Walker or something. It might actually work. He was 28. Oh, wow. So he's even younger than I thought. Yeah, it was never going to work out for the kid. We thought about HBK's returning from injury during the Attitude Era. If Shawn would have come back around this point in time, I think Triple H would have been none too happy about that, especially coming back during his run. But I definitely think The Rock and Stone Cold would not have been thrilled about it. Undertaker probably would not have been thrilled about it. I think everybody had their feel of Shawn by this point. They just had X-Pac eliminate Kane, bro. I'm about ready to turn this shit off. I didn't even think about. I was wondering how the Kane was going to get out of here. They had him get eliminated by X-Pac, bro. Oh, and then X-Pac eliminated got bench pressed, which was a logical finish that should have happened probably 10 minutes ago. I don't like The Rock's punches that much, though. They're okay, but they don't look that good here. And he got his back to the camera, which is, Attitude Era. They think this kind of shit don't matter, but it does. Because now we're seeing Rock from the side and shit. Like, I don't know, what do people's elbows supposed to hurt on the Big Show? A guy his size. What is it supposed to hurt? You need someone as good as Waller who can be elevated by him. I don't know who that would be, though. That would be the question. Who is that guy? You forgot that X-Pac stole Tori from Kane and joined DX. Everything about that Kane and DX and Tori thing, I eliminated from my brain. I remembered it when you said it, but I eliminated that shit from my brain, man. Kane being involved with that is awful. Hey, The Rock won. And it was a screwy finish for Big Show. Because The Rock couldn't just throw Big Show out. It would be cool if Maxine Dupree was the manager of Grayson Waller. You know what? You're on to something here. I think her character would fit with Grayson Waller perfectly. I think Tiffany Stratton fits perfectly with him too. But I think a Maxine Dupree would really fit with Grayson Waller. She's all about style and class and all that kind of stuff. And so is he. But she probably would fit Pretty Deadly quite a bit too. I think she'd kill with Pretty Deadly. The most electrifying move in sports entertainment. Yeah, it's not supposed to hurt anything, right? This Rumble was super predictable. Nobody in their right mind thought Big Show was going to win. I mean, you look at the field of 30, there's nobody in this match who could win except The Rock. And that's what they did for all the Attitude Era Royal Rumbles, which is why I hate them all. At least I like the Marked Man Rumble. At least that was fun. This one is pretty clear. When you look at the laundry list of guys who was going to be in it, there was just no way that who else were they going to put over? They really should have just did the Triple H Rock main event at WrestleMania, though. Them not doing that is part of the reason why I stopped watching wrestling in 2000. You know, them deciding they were going to just go horseshit on us. Like, I was going to try to play the promo, but his music's still playing. Oh, it is hot in this room. I'm starting to melt. Is his music still playing?
Seeing as The Rock just won the Royal Rumble right here in New York City. Big Apple. The Rock can honestly say, finally, The Rock is going to WrestleMania.
Top Dog says, or even better, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, and Maxine Dupree. Yeah, I definitely think that there's something there for Grayson Waller and Austin Theory working together. That's the direction I probably would have gone with in NXT. You know, I think as a buddy system, those two guys, it'd be so fucking obnoxious that I think it could work. But then they wouldn't change Austin Theory's gimmick by putting him in a denim jacket. So, black jackets. He's a heel. Or he's the Fonz. Hey, crazy how Bray or Braun has not acknowledged Roman since they came back. Yeah, nobody has. I think neither one of them want anything to do with the fucking guy. They're going to have to cross paths eventually, though, because Braun has a history of feuding with Roman, and so does Bray. So I think that eventually they're going to go back to it. WWE seems to do the right thing and go back to feuds, unless these guys have legitimate heat with each other, which they might. Who knows? Alan Everett says, I don't understand why Triple H and Stone Cold didn't go WrestleMania X7 and just ended at No Way Out. You're asking the wrong questions. All right, guys. That was Royal Rumble 2000. We watched the entire show. It was fun. Chris Jericho's mustache and the British Bulldog's jeans. I didn't need to be reminded of either one of those things. But unfortunately, it's not in my control. It's out of my hands. They doing their own thing at this point. I don't understand why Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin had a 3 stages of hell match anyway. It's like they were trying too much. Maybe they ought to bring the 3 stages of hell back. Wouldn't be surprised if Triple H wouldn't have tried to do that. That should be a gimmick pay-per-view. 3 stages of hell. Oh yeah, Al Wilson. Al Wilson died because he was banging Dawn Marie. He banged her to death. What a weird day that was. That's the kind of shit we're talking about when we talk about the Ruthless Aggression era. All right, y'all. I appreciate you guys coming in. It's been a long show though. Thank you guys for your time. Like, share. If you're listening to this and you weren't watching along, you missed out. Start the show over, begin the show, and watch it along with us. If you're just enjoying the show, we appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.